Well, hello, everyone. We're about 2 hours and 15 minutes earlier than we had anticipated, but we are at Overton Stadium in Jackson, Tennessee, at the campus of the University School of Jackson. And because of the ominous weather in the forecast, it is going to be the Bruins against Riverside's Panthers, originally scheduled to go 5:45, but you may be seeing something a little different right here, and that is because Coach Danny Giles and his team are reinstalling the turf on the field. Now, actually, the skies look better right now than they did about 20 minutes ago when all of a sudden it looked almost pitch black dark. And we do have a frontal system that is going to be making its way through overnight and create what we think probably around 8 o'clock tonight, some really severe weather here in West Tennessee. Right now, there is a frontal system with wind and showers with thunderstorms that they are actually probably going to skirt the edge of Humboldt and Milan. It looks as though they're going to miss Jackson, and potentially that we would be having that activity. There's a slight possibility, looking at the future radar, that between 4 and 4:30 we may get a light shower. But what we're seeing is they are recovering the field now with the tarp that they put out last night at the end of the second game of our doubleheader. Now, Riverside is going out on the field to help with this, so they're going to cover it up. I don't know whether that means that they are just going to wait until after the possibility of this shower that is in our region right now. Wait until the possibility of it being over before they remove the tarp again. I talked to both coaches before the game here this afternoon, actually about 40 minutes ago. And I'm looking at radar right now from our executive producer, Paul Schultze, and it looks as though at this very moment we are seeing there's a heavy batch of showers that's in middle Gibson County right now. But the strong storm's probably going to be about 8:30 to 8:45 tonight. But you're seeing there's shower activity in Humboldt and in the upper portions of Gibson County. They're getting hit very hard right now. So what you got right now is they're going to be, I think, err on the side of caution. So they have put the tarp back up, and both teams are assisting with that. We got Alyssa Tatch out on camera, out on the top deck of the bleachers. And she is one of these that if we see any degree of lightning on our way, she was going to make a mad dash inside here in the press box where we are. One thing that did happen is the wind suddenly kicked up much higher than it was. It's going right now out of the south between about 11 and 17 miles an hour. We're having gusts about 17 to 18 miles an hour. And that wind had just really, it's still 73 degrees in the hub city, but you feel that in your face, and it's feeling about maybe 10 to 12 degrees cooler than that. Our wind chill factor right now is back to about 62, 63 degrees. But we are still looking at a temperature that's about the same as it was when we started our doubleheader yesterday, that USJ had the split with Huntington and losing the nightcap. And it was really a perfect day for baseball. But as we told you, we knew this was a roll of the dice to try to get this one in. And I know that the coaches wanted to play, and particularly talking to Riverside's coach, he said even if we could just get a few innings in just so the teams could be able to have that kind of competition, he said I'd be happy with that. And right now we are feeling, again, that gust of wind coming our way. And as you see on the field right now, it is blowing that tarp up. It looks like when you're at the beach and you've got a high tide, the way it's coming in your direction. And so the two teams are over there above it, and they're going in their respective directions right now. So we do not know exactly how long that they're going to wait on this. The plan had been to start this game at 3:30, and we are 3 minutes past, and they decided to go on ahead and protect the field as best they could, particularly the infield and the pitcher's mound. Here you go with another big high tide coming in. That one is one. If you had a kid out there, they'd probably love to be riding that. I'll give you what the starting lineups are scheduled to be for the game. Riverside will be starting. Batting first, Stone Wallace, a second baseman. Ethan Quinn bats second. He's the shortstop. Aiden Creasy, center fielder. He will be hitting third. And in the cleanup spot, Jake Swindle. He is the left fielder. Camden Eason is the right fielder, hitting fifth. Jace England, first baseman, will be in the sixth spot. Batting seventh, Cody Brasher. He is the third baseman. Braden Middleton, the designated hitter, will be swinging eighth. And down in the 9 hole is Connor Newberry. He's the catcher. Now for the Bruins, not a great deal of change over what we have had in this homestand this week. This is the fourth game this week. If we get it in, this will be the fourth game of the week. Nash Kilburn, the right fielder, and he won the opening game yesterday in relief, did a brilliant job, struck out 8 Huntington players. Nash playing right field today. Max Kilburn, second baseman, hitting second. Batting third, Wyatt Scott, the center fielder, and, of course, first baseman Maddox Raven in the cleanup spot. Brooks Jones, the catcher, batting fifth. Clennon Harden, the shortstop, will be hitting sixth. And then Kurt Sammons, left field today, and he is hitting seventh. Corbin Howard, who, even though he was tagged with a loss last night in the nightcap, he did a fine job of pitching after he had a shaky start, having to come in very quickly, 2/3 of an inning into the game. Corbin, after he got off that stretch where he gave up 3 runs, he had 6 strikeouts and also managed to scatter 4 hits the rest of the way. At one point, he retired 10 batters in a row. He'll be hitting 8th, playing third base, and then Nolan Foster will be the designated hitter, batting 9th. And Rory Jones will be on the mound for the Bruins, and Lane Johnson will be pitching for Riverside. So the best thing we can tell you right now, we wait to find out what they're going to do. There's just some light sprinkles here in the Jackson, most of the Jackson area. It's possible that you get up around Three-Way in upper Madison County might be getting a little residual effect of these showers that we've had. But it has been one of those that there have been portions of the day here in Jackson. You take a look at it and you think, oh, my goodness, they're never going to get it in. And then all of a sudden the clouds would break. You'd see maybe 2 minutes of sunshine. You thought, well, you know, maybe they got a chance to do this. Right now, the heavy cloud cover, these clouds are moving extremely fast. You'll see just a small patch of blue, and I'm seeing it particularly toward the eastern sky, but it is not looking too promising right now. Let me take a look back at my own radar at this point, and they've been looking at that. And this is showing maybe a little more shower activity that would be in our direction over the next half hour to an hour. It's not heavy rain, nothing like what we're expecting between about 8 and 10 o'clock tonight, where we are under a wind advisory here in most of West Tennessee, and about 9 o'clock tonight is when we are probably going to get hammered. But it looks as though now what the future radar is looking like is in about a half hour, we may be having at least the possibility of a light, fast-moving thunderstorm. We're seeing some red in the projections right now, and there's some others that looks like now about the 5:30 mark that we may be hitting it. We basically are turning meteorologist for you right now rather than a sportscaster. I've got enough experience at doing that on television to be dangerous. But here we go. And I'm looking again for this evening. But right now it appears that between 4:15 and 5:30 we may be getting at least some light showers that could make it difficult for them to be able to play on this field. And the one thing that you don't want to do, I know that particularly Major League and college baseball tries to do a lot more in rain than once they did. But the issue that you have is, what if you have a sudden flash of lightning out there in that field, and you don't want any of these kids out here to have to be dealing with that. So right now we wait. The umpires are here, and they worked feverishly last night immediately after the second game of the doubleheader, getting this entire field covered. I mean, not just the tarp you see right there. They had the whole outfield covered, and they said, we're going to do everything we can to protect it to try to get this game in today. One thing that we will tell you, if you can get 5 innings in, it does count as an official game, or 4.5 innings if the home team is ahead. So if they could, in sort of an in-and-out situation, be able to cram that in, that would be positive for both teams. But right now we are seeing a very light, what I guess you would say, my friend Ray Eaton would call a spit shower right now. It is not anything heavy, but it's just enough to be aggravating on people who are on the field, and particularly on equipment for those who carry these games for you live. You want to try to avoid rain on the gear at all cost. But as we view everything right now, and the picture you are seeing, it is the picture you are seeing right now, and I know this is not terribly exciting television, but that's what it is right now. We have the entire infield, and just the real short part of the outfield is covered with this tarp. And I want to take my hat off to this entire USJ team for the job they did last night, and their coaches, in trying to get this field protected to get whatever they could in today, because that is not an easy job to do, and you got to have everybody pulling together. You do not have, in high schools, you do not have a tarp crew to be able to come out. You are the tarp crew. So they have been doing everything possible to see that we can keep the field as dry as we can to keep this thing in. It is, and I can look around here, there had been some fans, and we got a few right down below me that are still braving it out with the umbrella, but a number of them decided to go for safer quarters right now. And I'll do an updated check here on the radar. And as I mentioned again, for those of you who may be interested in the Jackson area for later tonight, but right now I'm seeing between about 4:15 and 5:30. And I will show you that again. I'm looking at that again right now. Actually, it's looking as though that possibly right at this moment, at 3:40, that we could be seeing some, that it's not going to be heavy, but it'll be steady. A very light rain that is in this area, and that is just really shall we say, it's a preview of things worse that will be coming tonight. And I'm certainly glad that this game was not scheduled, say, around the 6:30 hour, because people would be scrambling. But I'm seeing between 8:20 and about 10 o'clock tonight. This is where everybody needs to be inside. You're going to probably have severe thunderstorm warnings issued. And now I'm beginning to see a little bit heavier rain come down. And we're focused on the scoreboard right now. And it's pretty steady at this point, and the umpires are taking a little bit cover going down into the USJ dugout, and they may be going over to talk to Coach Danny Giles, and we'll see what happens as a result of this. And once again, it was a heroic effort to try to get this field ready, and when I got here about 2:45, the clouds looked a bit ominous, but I was looking on the radar at that point, and it didn't look as though we were going to get anything until about 4:30, and that it was going to move out pretty quickly. But this may actually stay relatively steady for the next 45 minutes or so. We joined you right before 3:30, and here we are at 3:42. And back in the day, some of you may remember this, that back on TBS when they were carrying the Braves and they would have something like this happen, they'd say, well, let's take you now to an episode of the Andy Griffith Show, and we'll be back and give you an update on the weather and whether we're going to get this game in. Well, we don't have a Mayberry episode to go to today, so we're going to keep it in our direction until this is whether the game is called or not. But it is a light, steady rain that is coming down. They've turned on the lights here at Overton Stadium. And the Bruins have taken 2 of 3 this week on this homestand, and this was to be the last one of the week. Of course, we're going to have 4 games again next week, and also a lot of softball that'll be most entertaining. But right now, and I think it was a smart move because that future radar had changed just enough that they decided that they were going to get this tarp out as quickly as possible, and indeed they did. And so we continued to wait. I'll recap for you just a little bit of yesterday's doubleheader in case you had not heard. Of course, USJ defeated Obion County on Monday in their home opener of the season. And then yesterday, it was the Huntington Mustangs coming in, and Huntington got out to a 6-1 lead in the top half of the 3rd inning, and then here come the Bruins again. They picked up 2 in the 3rd and then had a big 5-run inning with 4 hits and 3 hit batsmen. Had 10 men to go to the plate in the 4th inning, and they ended up winning the game 8-6, and Nash Kilburn did a terrific job in relief and got the victory. He struck out 8, and Berkeley Pettigrew before him struck out 6, so they teamed up to knock down 14 Huntington players with the strikeout. And then last night in the nightcap, it was Lexington coming in. And this game was supposed to have been played in Union City, and they had to move it because the Union City field is unplayable. So it was one in which the Bruins made a valiant try for a rally, and they had 2 men on base. And here you go right now. I don't know if you can see it with the scoreboard up here, but it is beginning to come down. It's like somebody has had, well, it's coming down in just buckets right now. And this is one of those, I'm not sure that if it stays this steady, and we're getting Paul Schultze and Alyssa Tatch back in here into the booth, back into the press box, because this one is one of those that, fortunately, no thunder or lightning right now. That heavy part of it is expected to happen tonight. But I'm not real sure that they're going to be able to get this one in at all, because even with the tarp on there, that outfield is going to be very, very slick. And we've been at it with you here for about 16 minutes, hoping that actually the skies would break, but it is totally covered in gray now. We don't even see any small patch of blue. And it is beginning to get in here and soak in a little bit of our gear. And that advanced radar, again, we got to take a look at this and show you. And we may have to move where we are with Paul Schultze is going to move this camera back. So if it is, yeah, we got to do this right now because of this heavy rain that is coming down, and it's beginning to come into the press box where we have the open window. So if you see a picture that appears to be a bit shaky right now, that's the reason why. And so Paul's going to somehow try to find a spot where he can do that. Oh, he's going to turn it over on me. You guys, really, this may be the worst picture you could possibly see. To see yours truly right here. But here we are, and this heavy rain shower started about 4 minutes ago, and it is soaking the tarp, soaking the outfield. It would not, I'm not trying to be pessimistic because I know they would love to get this game in, but it would not be surprising to see the officials come out any time now and just say, we better call this one, because that outfield is going to be a total mess whatsoever. And Paul, as I told our audience just a few moments ago, back in the days when TBS started carrying the Atlanta Braves nationally, they had always, it would be either Chip Carey or Ernie Johnson that would say, Skip Carey or Ernie Johnson would say, well, while we wait on the rain delay, let's take you to an episode of the Andy Griffith Show. Paul doesn't have one of those loaded in his computer here, so we're not going to be able to bring you that. But let's do this. We got some wonderful people who bring you Bruin baseball and all of the Bruin sports all season long, whether it's basketball, football, or here we are in the spring sports. And so let's give you some messages from them, and be sure to go by and tell all of our fine sponsors how much you appreciate their support of Bruin Baseball. We'll be back after a few minutes to let you visit with our advertisers.
Tired of going to the dealerships only to see empty spaces? Then come to Carlock Nissan of Jackson. We have over 60 new vehicles in stock and more coming in daily. You can see, feel, and of course smell that new car smell. Save up to $8,600 off MSRP on a new Nissan. Plus, special APR financing as low as 1.9%. It's all at Carlock Nissan of Jackson. You should already be here.
Fleet Feet, your locally owned source for the best shoes for school, work, running, and everyday comfort. They offer a 3D scan of your feet and professional fitting. Fleet Feet sells the top-selling brands Hoka, On Cloud, and Brooks. To add comfort to your spikes or other performance shoes, let Fleet Feet fit you for a pair of arch support inserts. Get the quality you want and the service you deserve at Fleet Feet in Jackson on Oil Well Road beside Walgreens. Mention BallGame Blitz Sports Network and receive a free gift.
Ready for spring cleaning? Don't forget your HVAC system. Somebody needs to clean out all that dust and grime, and that somebody is us. Let McCoy's Heating and Air professionally clean your system so cool air can flow where it needs to go. Schedule now and you can get your cleaning for only $90. Call McCoy's Heating and Air at 731-668-7492 or visit airmccoy.com. McCoy's Heating and Air, Jackson's most trusted team of technicians.
Carlock Prestige is not your typical used car dealer. We have everything from a Porsche to this, and lots more. We inspect and repair all our vehicles. Ask us to prove it. We will.
Carlock Prestige, Van Drive, Jackson.
At Arrington Funeral Directors, we accept all prearranged funerals. So you may have prearranged your funeral in this town with another funeral home or even in another state, but we accept all prearranged funerals because we're here to serve families.
Fleet Feet, your locally owned source for the best shoes for school, work, running, and everyday comfort. They offer a 3D scan of your feet and professional fitting. Fleet Feet sells the top-selling brands Hoka, On Cloud, and Brooks. To add comfort to your spikes or other performance shoes, let Fleet Feet fit you for a pair of arch support inserts. Get the quality you want and the service you deserve at Fleet Feet in Jackson on Oil Well Road beside Walgreens.
At Dynamics Physical Therapy, we help our clients get back to doing what they love. Dynamics is now serving communities throughout West Tennessee.
Thompson & Smith, the area's premier independent insurance brokerage, has been serving families and businesses in the region through its founding companies since 1927. With their many insurance company partners, Thompson & Smith provides insurance products for family, home and auto, contractors, retailers, restaurants, manufacturers, medical and dental clinics, as well as any other business or organization seeking quality coverage, risk management expertise, and customer-focused service. Call them today to discuss your insurance needs.
Are you looking to build a career? Build a career with West Tennessee's own H&M Company. H&M is a leading coast-to-coast industrial design and construction firm for Fortune 500 companies. Founded in Milan in 1957 and headquartered in Jackson, H&M is actively hiring in all areas of construction and engineering. Visit us at hmcompany.com to start building your career today.
For anyone contemplating pre-planning, we can tell you from our experience, it's much easier to make funeral plans and record them now than wait until emotions are running at their highest.
With pre-planning, you can free your mind and heart from having to make big decisions during a time of grief and instead enjoy the freedom to focus on the memories of a life well lived.
King Jewelers is not your typical run-of-the-mill jewelry store. Grover is a certified jeweler with 35 years experience. This isn't just a jewelry store. It's an iconic symbol of love. How far would you go for love? King Jewelers, 16B Conrad Drive, Jackson.
Well, we're back live here in the press box at Overton Stadium. Steve Beverly with you, and the USJ players are out on the field. They're taking the stakes out of the tarp. We still have a pretty steady rain. It's lighter than it was, say, about 5 minutes ago. And they've turned on the lights here at the stadium. They're doing everything possible to try to get this scheduled game that was supposed to be a 5:45 start. They moved it up to 3:30 in the hopes that they could beat the impending thunderstorms that we have coming this way that this evening are not going to be too pretty. But what actually has occurred, they decided about it's about 3:54 now. They decided about 3:35 to come over and pull the entire tarp and put it back on the infield and the lower portion of the outfield, and they did a very smooth and quick job of that. But we still have a pretty steady rain. Now, we've got the Riverside players who are coming back out on the field, I think, to assist with this. So I don't know whether we're going to see baseball or not this afternoon. Now, our radar here is looking as though we may still have some that will continue at least a light rain until about 4:15 or 4:20. Now, if they decide to go ahead and play this one, and let's say they get it started at approximately 4:30, about 35 minutes from now, the longer that you go, and we are beginning to see right now what is really the major stuff would be about 8 to 8:15 tonight. They could probably get the game in, but with every passing hour, you're rolling the dice on this. Now, they could, between the two coaches, agree, and right now with us up in the press box, I don't have any way of telling you this, they could agree to try to play a 5-inning game and see if they could possibly get in one that would count as an official game. So I'm sure those are all the options that are being weighed. The umpires, and they're coming back out onto the field. They went into the USJ dugout a few moments ago. We actually now are seeing some sunshine peep through. That is a big surprise to us because it looked as though that we were still going to be covered in this overcast that we had, and this shower activity has been all into upper Madison County in the northern part of it, and all the way up into Gibson County, Humboldt, Milan, and to portions north and northeast of that. This afternoon portion of this front coming through has created some real difficulties for them, but we saw that the real heaviest portion of it was just going to miss right here in Jackson. And even though USJ is closer to the northern part of Jackson, it looked as though that we were going to get away from it. But for those of you who are concerned about this tonight, we are looking for it, and I encourage you to stay close to your favorite weather source this evening, because somewhere in the neighborhood of between 7:45 and 8:15, you're going to see some pretty rough stuff come this way, and I'm looking at it on my radar right now, and it'll probably continue for about 2 to 2.25 hours as this pretty massive cold front comes through after we have had these, and they're no longer unseasonably warm temperatures, even though we are just in the very beginning stages of spring. But here we are we were at 73 degrees when we started this telecast about 3:30 today, and now they are going to spread this tarp out. I'm looking right now, and we can't show you this because we're trying to get our are behind the catcher camera. We're trying to get it back in place since the shower activity has declined, at least for a moment. But it appears they may be bringing the tarp right back out again. They pulled it into the outfield, and got a couple of youngsters out on the field, and there's some that have been out here braving the showers, and they are anxious to see what's about to happen. Nothing a kid loves any more than getting out in the rain and playing. And if mom sees them soaked, and they don't care about that. They're just and if you wonder, I'm saying that from experience, maybe about 64 years ago or so. But they are bringing the tarp back over the infield. They pulled it off for just a few minutes, and so I would love to tell you that I could give you an answer as to whether this game is going to be called within the next few minutes, but I absolutely don't know. And so now the players are, and again, hopefully we'll get you a picture of this in just a moment, but the players are now stepping on the tarp to see that it is about as secure as possible. And they've got them. The interesting thing is a lot of them are out there in rain boots. That's an interesting combination with baseball pants and rain boots in any kind of situation, but whatever you got to do to try to protect your field. There's one thing that I will say. This is one of the most beautiful high school fields anywhere. I mean, they take great care of this place. It is like, other than the fact of seating capacity, that you would not have a huge amount, this is as good as any minor league stadium that you would see anywhere Overton Stadium is, because it's 320 to each of the foul lines, and it's about 375 to center field. It's really just, again, put it on everything. It is one of the finest fields anywhere. Now they're dragging the tarp back over. I'm giving you a play-by-play of something you can't see right now because we are trying to reconnect our wide-shot camera for you to have an opportunity to see something a lot better than me to take a look at. They are now pulling it, and they're trying to get it closer into the outfield area, and I think they may be trying to roll this thing up. Again, I'm looking back into the western sky behind me, and once again I'm seeing a little bit of sun peek through, and that's at least a welcome change. I wish you could see these kids who are out here on the field. They're just having a blast out here and, throwing a baseball around, and these kids are just enjoying being out here in whatever's left of the light rain. But we tried to get this thing started. I got here at the field at 2:45, and we tried to get this thing started. It was a scramble because the game was originally scheduled for a 5:45 first pitch. And I had talked to Danny Giles yesterday, and he said, we got an option if we can get referees to move it, if we can get umpires in here to move it to 4:30. And then this morning we got the word that it was a 3:30 start today, and because of what the forecast had been with the rain, well, so far we have had no luck. We are in what now is into a 31-minute rain delay to even get this one started. And both these coaches, in talking to them, they said they would hope they could get just at least a bit of competition today for both of their players. But you just are rolling the dice in a situation like this where you just don't know how long a shower is going to be and how difficult it is going to be to get these situations in. And now there we go. We're going to show you an outfield picture once again where you can see where they have pulled the tarp just beyond the infield. And we can get you another shot here in just a moment, get it off of me, and be able to show you what's going on back in that direction. And they're going to slide that tarp all the way back to the outfield and going into deep outfield, and then see about whether or not they're going to roll that thing back up. And the coaches for Riverside have returned to the foul line, and the one thing about it that you have to say, it is a yeoman's job what they have done to try to get this as protected as possible, because as we mentioned to you about 20 minutes ago, they don't have, high schools just simply do not have their own grounds crew. Your team and your coaches are the grounds crew. And what they did last night to get this entire field covered and how fast they did it, I counted last night about 25 minutes, and then they were able to get this thing where it was in ship shape to get ready for a game today if they could get it in. And so now they're going to rush back out there and see if they can get it at least cleaned up as much as possible. And it is scheduled to be USJ against Riverside. And if we can get this in even, shall we say, even 5 innings of this, it would be a huge, huge lift to both of these teams to be able to have it. So now they're coming back and going to roll that tarp up on the cart. And so if you've never seen teamwork of a team itself, here it is. These guys have been extraordinarily busy trying to keep this up. And once again, now they're trying to pull a little more sand out there so it can cover up the wet spots. Because when they rolled the tarp out at one point in time, then all of a sudden here came the rain again, so they're trying to get it in the batter's box. One of the real problems, he's going to have to re-chalk the batter's box. And you can see once again, it actually is a very nice afternoon now. As we say, a bit windier. Wind is now, let me take a look at what my chart shows here. The wind at this stage of the game is now up to about, it's coming out of the south-southeast between 9 and 15 miles an hour. And our temperature has dropped about 3 degrees down to 70, although the wind chill feels a bit about like 61 right now. Doesn't feel like it did on Monday night when we had, if I'd have had a blanket concession here, I'd have probably made a good money. So they are, again, taking their time to try to get this one ready and hopefully get in. With the sunshine out here, it'd be good to get in even 3 innings if we could to be able to make this thing happen. And I think there's actually a chance of it now. And some of the fans, of course, the bleachers are absolutely soaked, but some of the fans are coming back out now. And with the sunshine coming their way, they're keeping those umbrellas quite handy. And they're getting close to that. They've got about 60% of that top tarp rolled up. But to give you just an updated forecast for later this evening, because this is something I know everybody in West Tennessee, because we have been so vulnerable to the severe weather in our area. I just want to tell you once again what it is looking like, say an hour by hour. And the heavy thunderstorms are predicted to start here in the Jackson area around 8:15 tonight. And that's when we expect this south-southwest wind to kick up to about 20 to 25 miles an hour. There is a chance of higher gusts than that. But the heavy rain is expected between 8:15 and approximately 11:15 tonight. Our advanced forecast is showing a 100% chance of severe thunderstorms during that time. It only drops down to about 95% at 10 o'clock. But it will drop it'll drop off at about 11:15. You still have some scattered storms that will continue in the area after midnight. And then once that's gone, everything's going to be out of the way. When you wake up tomorrow morning, you're going to see clear skies. It's going to be cooler. The high tomorrow is only going to get up to about 64. And then our evening temperatures tomorrow night will be down to about 47. It's not going to be a huge chill, but that's what you see. And then Sunday is going to be a relatively pleasant day as well, and it's going to be a sunny day, but it'll be warming back up to about 72 at mid-afternoon. So if we can just get this out of the way tonight, and just, as I say, stay close to your favorite weather source, because that is going to be a telling moment for us in the area. And ever since we've had, since 1999, a rush of tornadoes in this area, every time you have severe thunderstorms that could possibly spawn a tornado, everybody's antenna is up. It's not that we want to alarm you unnecessarily. We just want to let you know. And I have been on the front end of telling you about those as these storms have come through over the years. So we're going to hope for the best tonight and just hope it stays that way. We are under a wind advisory until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, and a flood warning as well. And you want to say, well, how are we under a flood warning if it's not raining right now? It's what is anticipated, and they want to get the community ready for that, so you don't try to get out and do any fast motion out in roads that are slick. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to tell, let's see, we are, and as I say, we have been in a rain delay, and now with the sun out, I know they're trying to see if they can get this thing going as quickly as possible. It was supposed to start at 3:30, and the tarp rolled out right at that time, so we're close to a 40-minute rain delay right now. Tell you what, Paul, why don't we take another break, and we will let you visit with some of our advertisers again, and then we'll be back, hopefully, with the start of the game right after these messages.
Turn to the experts. Since 1955, Garrett Plumbing and Heating has been the leader in plumbing, heating, and air conditioning service and installation for West Tennessee. A proud supporter of USJ Bruin Athletics, we are your local Carrier Factory authorized dealer. Call Garrett Plumbing and Heating, 668-3339, for all of your plumbing, heating, and air needs.
Ready for spring cleaning? Don't forget your HVAC system. Somebody needs to clean out all that dust and grime, and that somebody is us. Let McCoy's Heating and Air professionally clean your system so cool air can flow where it needs to go. Schedule now and you can get your cleaning for only $90. Call McCoy's Heating and Air at 731-668-7492 or visit airmccoy.com. McCoy's Heating and Air, Jackson's most trusted team of technicians.
Football looks fun. I bet I would have been great at it. The first football playing deer, they would have made a movie about me and everything. Probably get Kurt Russell to play me. But alas, me and my dreams run right over again.
For fast, reliable collision repair, trust the experts at Mitchell's Body Shop. And get back out there.
We offer live webcasting for families. It kind of came out of when so many warriors were going overseas to war. We have learned to offer families more choices, that we want to serve our families well and serve our families better.
Buying a home is a major milestone, and at the Bank of Jackson, we want to help you achieve it. Our mortgage specialists can assist you with conventional, VA, FHA, or construction loans, as well as USDA and THDA development loans. Serving the Jackson area for 25 years. The Bank of Jackson, your down-home community bank. You belong here. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Dynamics Physical Therapy, your elite provider in sports medicine and performance. Now serving communities throughout West Tennessee.
The most important benefit when you buy from Jones Chevrolet at Three-Way? Peace of mind. Jones Chevrolet's warranty forever comes with every qualifying new and pre-owned vehicle. Powertrain coverage for as long as you own your vehicle. Find out more at Jones Chevrolet in Three-Way.
Home furnishings, appliances, bedding, and so much more. Kaufman's. At the Bypass and Oil Well Road in Jackson. Home furnishings for every room in your home. Custom upholstery options too, with professional advice. Major appliances from America's top name brands. Mattresses and bedding accessories. Outdoor living and grilling too. And our fully stocked warehouse helps prevent supply chain delays. Kaufman's, for your life.
Are you looking to build a career? Build a career with West Tennessee's own H&M Company. H&M is a leading coast-to-coast industrial design and construction firm for Fortune 500 companies. Founded in Milan in 1957 and headquartered in Jackson, H&M is actively hiring in all areas of construction and engineering. Visit us at hmcompany.com to start building your career today.
Championship DNA. That's what you find at Jones Chevrolet at Three-Way. A full line of new Chevrolets plus West Tennessee's largest used car inventory. State-of-the-art service work and pre-approved auto loans online at JonesChevroletHumboldt.com. Shop with a winner. Jones Chevrolet at Three-Way.
Downtown is thriving and the Blacksmith Restaurant is leading the pack. From the rustic dining room to the unmatched patio, eating local with family is what we're about. Live local, eat local, relax local.
This could be a true story. On October 3rd, a 2003 hatchback struck and killed a deer that goes by the name Buck. I know, right? He now has Buck's head proudly displayed on his living room wall. He tells a different story.
Shot it.
No, he didn't.
And to hide his lie, he took his car to Mitchell's Body Shop.
No, I didn't.
Yes, he did. And lucky for him, they made it look good as new. And as for Buck, the story continues.
Do you want your smile to say it all? At Elite Dental Care, we'll make you and your family feel comfortable and secure with a variety of services and state-of-the-art care. We offer sedation dentistry that will make your time in the dental chair comfortable and relaxed. Come by and see our newly renovated and expanded office in Jackson or one of our other convenient locations in Trenton or Dyersburg. Trust your smile with Elite Dental Care and let your smile say it all.
Are you looking to build a career? Build a career with West Tennessee's own H&M Company. H&M is a leading coast-to-coast industrial design and construction firm for Fortune 500 companies. Founded in Milan in 1957 and headquartered in Jackson, H&M is actively hiring in all areas of construction and engineering. Visit us at hmcompany.com to start building your career today.
Ready for spring cleaning? Don't forget your HVAC system. Somebody needs to clean out all that dust and grime, and that somebody is us. Let McCoy's Heating and Air professionally clean your system so cool air can flow where it needs to go. Schedule now and you can get your cleaning for only $90. Call McCoy's Heating and Air at 731-668-7492 or visit airmccoy.com. McCoy's Heating and Air, Jackson's most trusted team of technicians.
Tired of going to the dealerships only to see empty spaces? Then come to Carlock Nissan of Jackson. We have over 60 new vehicles in stock and more coming in daily. You can see, feel, and of course smell that new car smell. Save up to $8,600 off MSRP on a new Nissan. Plus, special APR financing as low as 1.9%. It's all at Carlock Nissan of Jackson. You should already be here.
Mention BallGame Blitz Sports Network and receive a free gift.
Ready ready for spring cleaning? Don't forget your HVAC system. Somebody needs to clean out all that dust and grime, and that somebody is us. Let McCoy's Heating and Air professionally clean your system so cool air can flow where it needs to go. Schedule now and you can get your cleaning for only $90. Call McCoy's Heating and Air at 731-668-7492 or visit airmccoy.com. McCoy's Heating and Air, Jackson's most trusted team of technicians.
Carlac Prestige is not your typical used car dealer. We have everything from a Porsche to this, and lots more. We inspect and repair all our vehicles. Ask us to prove it. We will.
Carlac Prestige, Van Drive, Jackson.
At Arrington Funeral Directors, we accept all prearranged funerals. So you may have prearranged your funeral in this town with another funeral home or even in another state, but we accept all prearranged funerals because we're here to serve families.
Fleet Feet, your locally owned source for the best shoes for school, work, running, and everyday comfort. They offer a 3D scan of your feet and professional fitting. Fleet Feet sells the top-selling brands Hoka, OnCloud, and Brooks. To add comfort to your spikes or other performance shoes, let Fleet Feet fit you for a pair of arch support inserts. Get the quality you want and the service you deserve at Fleet Feet in Jackson on Oil Well Road beside Walgreens.
Well, at last we are live with baseball this afternoon after a 49-minute rain delay. We're going to be operating with fewer cameras this afternoon here on the BallGame Blitz Sports Network, primarily because that threat of severe weather and the heavy rains that we had, we just had to do everything we could to protect our equipment that's usually giving you the outfield camera and the behind the pitcher shot. But we're going to do the best we can under the circumstances because there is more rain headed our way, but we hope we can get at least 5 innings of this game in. And taking his warm-up tosses for Riverside is Lane Johnson, their pitcher, and that's Rory Jones for USJ. Lane Johnson is the pitcher for Riverside, and up first is going to be the second baseman, Stone Wallace. So this is Game 4 of the 4-game homestand this week here at Overton Stadium. And Rory finishes up his tosses, and we are about set to go as they whip it around the infield. Stone bats right-handed, going against the right-handed pitching of Rory Jones. And so I can tell you, if you just joined us, it didn't look like this 45 minutes ago. Not at all. And the first pitch, just ducking down, it goes over the head of Stone Wallace, ball one. That one just simply got away from Rory. And fans are finally making their way through. Hope they got towels to be able to dry off the metal bleachers here. And the pitch. Right down in there for strike one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wallace is a good leadoff hitter, and he gives a lot of leadership to this Riverside Panthers team. And the pitch. And that one just got away on the inside, and he hit him. So first base runner as Wallace hit by a pitch, and so Ethan Quinn, the shortstop, will come up. And Brooks Jones, the catcher, goes out to just settle down Jones a bit and just say, just throw your stuff and don't worry about losing that first runner. As we say, there's some people who just went out to the parking lot and sat in their cars hoping that the rain would go away. And we think, at least from what the future radar shows, that we can probably get through about the next 90 minutes without any other threat of a light shower coming through, and the sunshine is really helping. There's Jones going against the left-hander Quinn. Ball one, low. And the 1-0. That's low and inside, ball 2. And I will also take my hat off to our lead camera operator, Alyssa Tatch, for braving the elements. Now she's back on camera again. Right down in there for strike 1 call. 2 balls and a strike. Except for the fact that we had that 40-minute rain shower, this is actually, as far as temperature is concerned, as good a day for baseball as you could possibly want to have, just like it was for our doubleheader yesterday afternoon and last night. That was ball 3. So the 3-1 count to Quinn. And the runner is faked a move to second base, but didn't do it, and that one's fouled out of play. 3 balls and 2 strikes. We've got a full count. I think unquestionably Wallace will be moving on this next pitch. So Quinn gets ready, and Jones looks the runner back. And the pitch. Just outside, ball 4. So 2 base runners already for Riverside. And that brings up the center fielder, Aiden Creasy. And Jones comes back behind the plate. So Creasy with 2 on, trying to get the first run of the game for Riverside. This guy's got plenty of power. And it goes down in the dirt, but the runners have to get back. Ball 1. They'd love to be able to get a double play to cut down this first inning threat. Looks the runner back at second. And the pitch. That's down in the dirt. Ball 2. Doesn't have his good control here in the first inning. You have Wallace on second, Quinn on first. And the pitch to Creasy. And tap foul. Going back to the screen, 2 balls and 1 strike. Temperature has dropped down a bit since we started. And we're about 70 degrees here at game time. That one's tapped to, it's a 2-3 hopper. And he's going to have to go to first. That's the only play he had. Runners were just too fast going to second and third, and the only play he had was to first and managed to nail him for out number 1. So that was a good job on the part of Clennon Harden to get that one out of his glove. Now they've got both of them in scoring position after the fielder's choice. Jake Swindle, the left fielder, and swings and misses for strike 1. That took the force play off, but if they could get out of this with even just 1 run scoring, that would be a terrific pitching job out of it. Jones working a little more deliberately in the pitch. Just, oh, I tell you what, that one curved into the inside corner for strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes. This would be a big one if he could get him on a strikeout. And Jones with the pitch. Down low for ball 1. As you know, if you've been following it for a number of years, in high school baseball, the pitchers do operate on a pitch count. Rory's pitch, and that one is tapped. Yeah, it's going to be a strikeout, and they are not going to be able to get the runner home. He was trying his best to get home. Alert by the catcher, Brooks Jones, to toss him out at first, and so Stone Wallace looked as though he was going to try to go home on that throw, and he thought better of it, and so we got 2 down now. And Camden Eason, the right fielder, comes to the plate, batting right-handed. So if he is able to nail him out, that is going to be huge to get out of this inning and that jam that he had where he had runners on first and second with nobody out. And the pitch. Struck. That one dipped low, and he went for it. 0-1. 2 on, 2 out. Oh, okay. I stand corrected. They did not rule Jake Swindle out, so there's 1 out and the bases are loaded. And the pitch. And that's going to get into left field for a base hit. 1 run in, trying to get a second run in. They're going to cut the throw off at the shortstop, and the Panthers come up with the first 2 of the game. 2-run single by Camden Eason. So Wallace and Quinn score on the single. Runners at first and second. They got 2 runs on only that 1 hit that they just had. Jace England, the first baseman, at the plate. And the pitch. Down low, ball 1. He's looking to runner back at second. And the pitch. Just inside. 2 balls and no strikes. One man out. 2 on, and 2 runs are in for the Panthers. And Jones delivers. As a high fly ball into right field, and it looks like it drops between them. They're going to stay. Nobody was able to score on that one because they were all waiting to see if it was going to be snagged out in right field, and it dropped between the 3 fielders, and so you got the bases loaded now with 1 out, so you can get a double play at any base. So a bloop single for Chase England. Cody Brasher, the third baseman, another right-hander, is up. And this is where the Bruins really need a double play. And the pitch. Got him on the inside corner for strike 1. No balls and a strike. Nowhere to put this guy. And the pitch. And he went after that one. No balls and 2 strikes. Once again, it would be big if he gets a strikeout out of this one. Brasher is the 7th Panther to bat in this inning. And Jones delivers. Just outside, 1-2, and Brooks Jones asked the umpire to ask for help on that one. They said he didn't go around. A ball and 2 strikes to Brasher. The 1-2. And that goes off of the arm, and that's going to score a run. Unfortunately, he had turned one way, and it hit Rory Jones in the arm and went into the shortstop's range, and there was no way to get anybody out, so another infield hit. And that's an RBI for Brasher, and that'll bring up the designated hitter, Braden Middleton. And the bases are still loaded. One man out. Still got a double play at force at any base. And there you go. It's going to get to the shortstop. Can he get him? No. There was no way that he was going to be able to get the very fast Cody Brasher going to second base, so another run comes in on yet another infield hit. So out to a 4-0 lead already. And they're coming out to have a conference with Rory Jones. This has just been a tough inning for him because out of the 4 hits, 3 of them have been infield hits. And another one was just a bloop that dropped into right field. Started out hitting the first batter and then had a walk. And so it's been a really tough first inning for Rory Jones. Four runs for the Panthers, and they finished the conference. And everybody heads back to the bases. And this brings up the catcher, Connor Newberry, as the Panthers have now batted around in this first inning. Jones could still hold down the damage if he's able to get a double play out of this one. The pitch. And that one goes into the dirt. He did go after it, so it's strike one. Newberry is one that he's a good ground ball hitter, and that's what we've seen a lot of in this first inning on the part of Riverside, and it's their speed on the bases that that's really made the difference. And the pitch. Low for ball 2. Bases loaded. You still only have 1 out for the Riverside Panthers. And the pitch. And he swung at that one. Got around on it way too early. Ball and 2 strikes. Newberry trying to keep this threat alive that has already been. And he struck him out. He's going to have to throw. Yeah, he's going to be out on this one because there's nowhere for him to go, and so he's automatically out on that one unless all the runners had decided to advance, and they, in fact, did not. So strikeout number 1 for Rory Jones, and that brings back up Stone Wallace for his second trip to the plate in this inning. He started this all with being hit by a pitch ball. So let's see what the second sacker does here, still with the bases loaded and 2 out. And Rory Jones delivers. That one is low for ball 1. Again, no place to put him. England is down at third. Strike, just got the outside corner. You've got England at third. Brashers at first. And the pitch. And that's going to be to the pitcher. Can he hurry and get it? And they get the force at home, and that finally gets them out of the inning. So score that one 1-2. So we have completed the first inning. It was 4 runs on 4 hits, no errors, and 3 men left on base. And your score after a half inning of play, Riverside 4, and the Bruins just now coming into bat.
At Dynamics Physical Therapy, we help our clients get back to doing what they love. Dynamics is now serving communities throughout West Tennessee.
Thompson & Smith, the area's premier independent insurance brokerage, has been serving families and businesses in the region through its founding companies since 1927. With their many insurance company partners, Thompson & Smith provides insurance products for family, home and auto, contractors, retailers, restaurants, manufacturers, medical and dental clinics, as well as any other business or organization seeking quality coverage, risk management expertise, and customer-focused service. Call them today to discuss your insurance needs.
And the hard-throwing right-hander for Riverside, Lane Johnson, taking his warm-up tosses. And batting first for the Bruins will be Nash Kilburn, the right fielder. He was all over the bases in both games of the doubleheader last night, but won the first game against Huntington in relief, struck out 8 of the Mustangs out of 14 that whiffed for Huntington last night. And so that first game, the pitching was really onto it. And Nash came in, and he's playing right field today. And they're ready as they whip it around the infield. And let's see if the Bruins can come up with an early rally here after giving up 4 in the first inning. So Nash Kilburn, the right fielder, steps in. They're playing him a little bit shorter in the outfield. He is a good fastball hitter. And the first pitch hits the outside corner for strike 1. Got more fans trickling in here to Overton Stadium. And that one is low for ball 1. In that opener yesterday, the Bruins just kept grinding away and finally got that 5-run rally to win it 8-6. And that one's low. 2 balls and 1 strike. Newberry has a very strong fastball. If he keeps his control, it's going to be tough for the Bruins this afternoon. And here we go. Fastball again, and that one is hit foul down the first base line. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Nash Kilburn. Max Kilburn will be next. Wyatt Scott hitting third. The 2-2 coming from Johnson. And that one again fouled hard down the right field line. Tell you what, if Nash gets his pitch, he can really tee off on it, and there's a big gap out there between center and right field. They're playing him pretty much straight away. And outside for ball 3. That was a good job of saving that one in the dirt by Connor Newberry. Three balls and 2 strikes. And here comes the payoff pitch to Nash Kilburn after he steps back in. Inside for ball 4, and so Nash works the walk. And that gets a rally started for the Bruins. Max Kilburn, as he was introduced today. Max the Athlete Kilburn. The longer I go here, the more I'll catch on to the nicknames for some of these kids. That I always enjoy those. They throw hard to first base, but back in there in the dirt is Nash. Max, the second baseman. You get 2 or 3 of these Bruins on here to get a rally going, and it's going to be a very run-loaded game. That one's inside for ball 1. Panthers, in case you just joined us, got out to a 4-run first inning. Got a hit batsman, base on balls, and then they had 3 infield hits. It was just an awkward inning for the Bruins and just an unorthodox one, and that one is in there for strike 1. Ball and a strike to Max Kilburn. And watch Johnson on his fastball, and he really bows his back. He fires back over to first, and back in there safely is Nash. So once again, the 1-1 from Lane Johnson. And stepping out of the batter's box again is Max Kilburn. He's working him. There's no question about that. Don't be surprised if he can get a good jump. Nash Kilburn, he'd love to be able to swipe second. The pitch. There's a drive that's going back into left field. And it goes foul. That's one of those you get real excited about, and you see it going back toward the fence, and then it bends foul on the last 10 feet. All right, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Max Kilburn. He gave that one a ride. Nash will probably be moving with this pitch. Way outside, and I think they were anticipating that, so that was more of a pitch out. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wyatt Scott next, followed by Maddox Rabin. The 2-2 just missed hitting him. 3 balls and 2 strikes. We've gone full to Max Kilburn. Both of these pitchers have thrown a lot of pitches in the first inning. Nash gets his lead at first. And the pitch. High for ball 4. He's going to take off on it. It doesn't matter because it's ball 4. So 2 walks to open the inning. Max did a good job of taking a number of pitches and getting that down so he could move to first base. So 2 on, bases on balls, and hit batsman really hurt the Bruins in the first inning. Well, let's see if the flip side is here, that the Panthers will get hurt by that. Wyatt Scott, also known as Hondo, the center fielder, is now trying to see if he can bring in a run from at least one of the Kilburns, if not both. And he's showing bunt. And he does. And it's going to go down, and they pick it up, and it's tossed over to the second baseman. Nice job by the first baseman. The sacrifice does work. So score that one 3-4. And that advances both of the Kilburns, and Maddox Rabin is up with runners on second and third. Maddox has good power. And again, they're playing him pretty much straight away into center field. And the pitch. High for ball 1. Got 1 out. Bruins still don't have a hit, but they got 2 on with walks, both of the Kilburns. And here comes Johnson's delivery. You can see that wind blowing his uniform. Inside for ball 2. That wind is not quite as strong as it was just in advance of the rainstorm that created that 41-minute rain delay that we had. And the delivery. And it's right down in there for strike 1. 2 balls and a strike. If you're the Bruins, of course, you'd love to tie the game, but if you can just get these 2 guys in and half that lead in the first inning, you've got something to really work with. And Johnson delivers. And it's inside corner again. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And we've got a fair crowd that has finally made their way to the stands after we had that rainstorm that was aggravating more than anything else. That's inside for ball 3. So we've gone full once again. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Maddox Rabin. It'll be interesting to see if Johnson goes fastball with him right here. And the pitch. Fouled down the right field line. First baseman going after it. And takes it for out number 2. Brooks Jones, the catcher, coming up. Trying to see if he can get his teammates in. We got 2 down now. Brooks getting a lot of enthusiasm from the crowd. Runner still on second and third. Nash and Max Kilburn. And the pitch way outside, ball 1. Boy, Max had a pretty strong lead down there at second base, because if he's able to get that into the outfield and have a chance to get a single out of this thing, he'd love to be able to get both these guys in. Johnson looks at the runners and delivers, and going after it outside for strike 1. Ball and a strike. Everything much calmer on the field, and I again have to salute these players who did a terrific job of covering the infield. That one's going to be fouled out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. They did a marvelous job of getting this field to where it did not become unplayable after that heavy rain that we had. The heaviest part of it was for about 7 minutes. And they just worked at yeoman's pace, and that's why we are able to play this game now. And stepping out of the batter's box is Jones, and Johnson will try to re-get his sign. Ball and 2 strikes and 2 outs. 2 on, both in scoring position. And Johnson delivers. And that one's going to go to the shortstop. He's got to fire long to first, and they get him, and the Bruins can't capitalize. So 6-3, and that's out number 3. No runs, no hits, 2 walks, no errors, and 2 men left on base. And the score at the end of the first inning is Riverside 4, USJ nothing.
Are you looking to build a career? Build a career with West Tennessee's own H&M Company. H&M is a leading coast-to-coast industrial design and construction firm for Fortune 500 companies. Founded in Milan in 1957 and headquartered in Jackson, H&M is actively hiring in all areas of construction and engineering. Visit us at hmcompany.com to start building your career today.
For anyone contemplating pre-planning, we can tell you from our experience, it's much easier to make funeral plans and record them now than wait until emotions are running at their highest.
With pre-planning, you can free your mind and heart from having to make big decisions during a time of grief and instead enjoy the freedom to focus on the memories of a life well lived.
Top half of the second inning from Overton Stadium, and it's Ethan Quinn, the shortstop, with his second trip to the plate. He had a walk and scored a run in the first inning, in which you had 10 Panthers come to the plate, and they picked up 4 runs out of it. Now, we are looking at here, if you're watching us live, we're looking at 4:51 Central Time, and I'm going to have to rush to try to get in the 5 innings because we now are seeing a forecast of a moderate thunderstorm potentially beginning at 6 o'clock where we are. That's one of those things I say, maybe, maybe not. But the one thing you want to guard against is anything with lightning with it, because you're got to get everybody out of here as quickly as you can. And Rory Jones taking his warm-up tosses. And Quinn set to take it to the plate. And here we go with inning number 2, with the Panthers on top 4-0. And Rory Jones attempting to settle down after that first inning where he gave up 4 runs and 4 hits. And he delivers. And that one a little low, 1 ball and no strikes. Quinn scored on a single by Jake Swindle in the first inning. Jones, that one dipped a little low again, 2 balls and no strikes. He just had a difficult time finding the plate. He did strike out the catcher, Connor Newberry. And the pitch. And that one is going to be right between the shortstop and third baseman into left field for a base hit. So Quinn officially 1 for 1 on the afternoon, and Aiden Creasy, the center fielder, will check in. He grounded out shortstop to first in the first inning. And seeing more of the USJ students making their way into the stands and enjoying being able to see their friends on a Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon is just the best time of the week for a high school student because you know you don't have to be in class tomorrow. And the pitch. There's a high fly ball that's going to go foul, and trying to get to it, and it went off his glove. Maddox Rabin tried hard to lunge for that one. It went off the side of his glove, so it just amounts to being a long strike. No balls and a strike to Aiden Creasy. Man, they're going to toss that one out. Got a little bit too wet. The outfield certainly is a little bit damp from what we had with that rainstorm that made us approximately 48 minutes from the scheduled start time at 3:30 to get this one started today. But they did, I can tell you, this was almost like watching fast motion, the way they were able to get this infield back in shape to be able to play. That one is going to get away from the catcher, and that's going to send Quinn down to second base on a pass ball. Ball and a strike to Creasy. Our temperature has dropped now to about 66 degrees. We were at 73 when we first got here this afternoon, so you're feeling some effect of that frontal system, and that one's foul down the right field line. A ball and 2 strikes. But again, just remember, all of you in West Tennessee who may be watching us live, 8 o'clock is the, I hate to say the magic time, but it is the time we are expecting some severe weather that could last for about 3 hours. And went for it. They got to go to first because it dropped below the catcher's mitt, but they get him for out number 1. So call that a strikeout, and then it is catcher to first base on the putout. Jake Swindle, who had a run-scoring single that brought home 2 in the first inning, is now at the plate. Moving over to second was Ethan Quinn on the earlier pass ball, so he's still in scoring position. He did not advance on that fielder's choice after the strikeout. And looks him back to second and doesn't deliver a throw. All right, Swindle ready for the pitch from Jones. And here he comes. And that one's going to get by the catcher, and that is going to send Quinn down to third. Score that one a wild pitch. So Quinn has been helped by a pass ball and a wild pitch to get from first to third with only 1 out. So he's only 90 feet away. And Jones delivers to Swindle. That's going to be fouled back out of play. And Brooks tosses it back in to Rory. Still only one out for the Panthers. Bruins really need to hold them down to this 4 spot right now in the second inning. Don't want to get this one out of hand in any way. And the pitch, and they say a bit low, 2 balls and 1 strike. Except for Monday night, that one's going to be low and outside, 3-1. Except for Monday night, we haven't had any type of temperature situation that was like it was last spring, where I think about 60% of the high school games that were played in this region, people were bringing their blankets, and that's ball 4. So we got them on the corners now on first and third with 1 out. You can get a double play, a conventional double play, if you can keep him on first. Camden Eason to the plate. He had an infield single that brought in 2 runs in the first inning. That was really one of the more unorthodox innings because you only had 1 ball that got out of the infield that allowed runs to score. Jones with the pitch, and that's going to get away from the catcher, and he's going to try to go home with it, and he beats it. And Jones has to get it back up so that they can get Swindle back to second base. So Quinn comes home again on a wild pitch, and that makes it a 5-0 game. So we got the bases clear now with, well, we got Swindle down at second. Quinn came in to score. Eason outside again, and that gets away, and he's going to move down to third on the wild pitch. It's been a tough day of control for Rory Jones, just has not been able to keep it over the plate. So Camden Eason, he could bring in another run because his teammate's only 90 feet away, and they're going to make a change. And checking in now is Logan Foster, who's going to come in and pitch in relief of Rory Jones. So he'll take his warm-up tosses. While he does, let's take a 1-minute break.
King Jewelers is not your typical run-of-the-mill jewelry store. Grover is a certified jeweler with 35 years experience. This isn't just a jewelry store. It's an iconic symbol of love. How far would you go for love? King Jewelers, 16B Conrad Drive, Jackson.
Turn to the experts. Since 1955, Garrett Plumbing and Heating has been the leader in plumbing, heating, and air conditioning service and installation for West Tennessee. A proud supporter of USJ Bruin Athletics, we are your local Carrier Factory authorized dealer. Call Garrett Plumbing and Heating, 668-3339, for all of your plumbing, heating, and air needs.
So Logan Foster is going to take over in relief of Rory Jones. Will close the book on him. He gave up 5 runs on 5 hits, but the tough part was giving up 2 walks and a hit batsman and 4 wild pitches during the game. It was just a really tough day of control for Rory, and so we'll see if Logan can come in and put out the threat. Here's its first pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Camden Eason, who had a single and 2 RBIs in the first inning. And gets it inside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out. If they could keep this down to a 1-run second inning, it would be a marvelous job of relief pitching. Good fastball, but it was just a bit low. So we got a full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Important payoff pitch for the Bruins. The wind and the pitch. And he struck him out. So Foster with his first strikeout, and that's a big one. So that's 2 down here in the second. And that brings up the first baseman, Jace England, who had a single in the first inning. Jones went 1 1/3 innings. This has been a long 1 2/3 innings of this contest, and he gets him on the inside corner for strike 1. And you hear some staccato cheering from the crowd. That one's inside for ball 1. Well, I think they called him and said they hit him. So that was just one of those, I think, just grazed his arm, and so he goes to first base with another hit batsman. That's the second of the afternoon. And that brings up Cody Brasher, the third baseman. He had a run-scoring single in the first. So you got a force play at second. And the pitch, that one's fouled out of play. No balls and a strike. But once again, if they can get out of this with just 1 run in this second inning, that's got to be a huge lift to the confidence of the Bruins. And that one's outside. Ball and a strike. Brooks Jones was out of there quickly to try to keep the runner from trying to advance to second, because you want to keep that force play at second if at all possible with 2 outs. And the pitch. And that's going to be to the shortstop. And he fires to second, and that is exactly what they wanted to do. Score it 6-4, and that gets them out of the inning with only 1 run. There was 1 run with 1 hit. They had a walk and a hit batsman, but that was all the damage that was done. No errors, and 1 man left on base. So the score at the end of an inning and a half is Riverside 5, USJ nothing.
Ready for spring cleaning? Don't forget your HVAC system. Somebody needs to clean out all that dust and grime, and that somebody is us. Let McCoy's Heating and Air professionally clean your system so cool air can flow where it needs to go. Schedule now and you can get your cleaning for only $90. Call McCoy's Heating and Air at 731-668-7492 or visit airmccoy.com. McCoy's Heating and Air, Jackson's most trusted team of technicians.
Football looks fun. I bet I would have been great at it. The first football playing deer, they would have made a movie about me and everything. Probably get Kurt Russell to play me. But alas, me and my dreams run right over again.
For fast, reliable collision repair, trust the experts at Mitchell's Body Shop. And get back out there.
Bottom half of the second inning. Panthers on top 5-0. And Clennon Harden, the shortstop, is up first for the Bruins. That was a good job of relief pitching by Logan Foster to be able to snuff out what could have been a much bigger rally of insurance runs on the part of Riverside. Well, let's see if Harden can start something right here. Johnson delivers, and that was just inside ball 1. Clennon was all over the bases in both games last night. And the pitch. There's a drive that's going to drop into left field for a base hit. Little one-hopper, and he gets things going. That's the first hit of the afternoon now for the Bruins. And let's see if that sparks a rally. Kurt Salmons, the left fielder. And he's going to hit left-handed against the right-handed pitching of Johnson. You love to see him line one down the right field line. That one's high for ball one. Got a little bit of sunshine peeping through again. We'll take all of it that we can get as long as we can keep the showers away until after we get this game in. Fires to first. Clennon's back in there very quickly. Salmons is a good fastball hitter. Has a very good eye at the plate. And that one's outside for ball two. Johnson gave up 2 walks in the first inning, but the Bruins could not deliver either of them home. And here goes the pitch. The 2-0. And that one's going to be right through the middle for a base hit. So good job of hitting and very patient at the plate was Kurt Salmons, and that puts 2 men on with nobody out, and Corbin Howard, the third baseman, checks in. Now they got an opportunity to get some momentum going on their side. And Nolan Foster, the designated hitter, would be next. This is Howard's first trip to the plate. And here's Johnson's first pitch. Outside, ball one. And Howard looks for a sign from his coach. Danny Giles delivers it. Looking the runner back to second, and the pitch. That's high for ball two. 2 balls, no strikes, runners on first and second. Nobody out for the Bruins. And we're just in the second inning. Johnson delivers. High, ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes, and this one would jam the bases if he goes in. All right, Howard's ready for it. I expect he's going to be taking this pitch all the way. And he does, and it's in there for strike one. 3 balls and 1 strike. Now let's see if they give him the green light here on 3-1 with 2 men on. They're getting the lead down at second. Clennon Harden, and the pitch. That's going to be high, and it goes trying to fire to first, and they get him, but they move the runners up to second and third. So that one is 6-3 as the shortstop came over and nailed that one down. So here's Nolan Foster with 2 Bruins in scoring position. You'd love to see him fire one out into the outfield and get both these guys in. Johnson with the pitch, and it's in there for a strike one call. Nash Kilburn would be back up after Foster. Here's his pitch, and that one is going to be a slow roller to shortstop. They're going to get 1 run home. They get him at first for out number 2. But Clennon Harden comes home, and Salmons moves over to third. So give Foster an RBI for that one. Here's Nash Kilburn with a teammate 90 feet away from home plate. Nash walked in the first inning, but they couldn't bring him home. Both he and Max. And the pitch. Bruins with a run and 2 hits now. That was inside for ball 1. You'd love to be able to get this second run home because that's the way the Bruins were, particularly in their opener last night against Huntington. They got down by 5, and that's let's see, is that going to be a fair? They're going to say it's out of range. They said he did not touch it in fair territory, so he comes back 1 ball and 1 strike. That was perilously close to being off the glove in fair territory of the first baseman. But Nash is going to have to tee it up all over again. Well, that's what happened is that last night the Bruins against Huntington fell down 5 and then got a couple back and then had a big 5-run rally of their own to take that game 8-6. And the pitch. That's inside for ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike, and they got a little bit of a difference of opinion that came from the Riverside dugout. This has been a long 2 innings because we've been at this now for about 41 minutes. Here's your pitch. And call strike 2, so it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Nash Kilburn. And if Nash sees the one that he wants, he'll tee off on it. You can rest assured of that. And the pitch low for ball 3. 3 balls and 2 strikes. We got the payoff coming with the runner on third. And here's the wind. The pitch. And that one goes down the right field line in fair toward. He's going to go for extra bases on this. Look at Nash fly down there. He's going to have to stop at second, but he slides in and he gets the second run home. Excellent job of hitting by Nash Kilburn, and he ends up with a run-scoring double. And that brings up Max Kilburn. So it's now 2 runs and 3 hits for the Bruins, and Max with an opportunity to bring in Nash, who's in scoring position. And the pitch. And that's going to be fouled out of play. No balls and a strike. Max walked his first time up and moved up to second, but they could not get him home. Max the Athlete Kilburn. And that one way inside, almost hit him. A ball and a strike. We still got 2 down here. And Nash Kilburn getting a fairly good lead down at second base. And the pitch from Johnson, and it hit him in the back. So Max, with his second trip to first base, he walked in the first inning and now hit by a pitch ball. And here goes Hondo Scott. He sacrificed in the first inning, so he doesn't have an official plate appearance. But now he's got 2 teammates aboard and an opportunity to do some damage here. And the pitch from Johnson. That's high for ball 1. Maddox Rabin would be next. You'd like to be able to get this entire crew batting around in the second inning. Johnson kicks and fires. There's a high fly ball way up there, and it's right into the glove of the center fielder. Aiden Creasy for out number 3. But the Bruins picked up 2 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. And so, at the end of 2 innings of play, it is Riverside 5, USJ 2.
We offer live webcasting for families. It kind of came out of when so many warriors were going overseas to war. We have learned to offer families more choices, that we want to serve our families well and serve our families better.
Buying a home is a major milestone, and at the Bank of Jackson, we want to help you achieve it. Our mortgage specialists can assist you with conventional, VA, FHA, or construction loans, as well as USDA and THDA development loans. Serving the Jackson area for 25 years. The Bank of Jackson, your down-home community bank. You belong here. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Well, our temperatures dropped down to 65 degrees here at Overton Stadium. That's about 8 degrees cooler than where we were. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but we have now been placed under a tornado watch. And that will continue until midnight tonight. That was issued at 5:15, just about 4 minutes ago. And to the plate is Braden Middleton. He had a single in the first inning. And he gets the outside corner for strike 1. Logan Foster in relief of Rory Jones. Yeah, just about every county in West Tennessee has been placed under a tornado watch until 12 midnight. That includes right here in Madison. And here's the pitch. And that one is lined just between the shortstop and third baseman into left field for a base hit. That's the same way he did it his first time up. That'll bring up the catcher, Connor Newberry, who struck out his first time up. That's the 6th hit of the afternoon for Riverside. And he's going to come over, and it looks as though they're going to have a pinch runner to come in. So the pinch runner coming in is Peyton Kirk. He's wearing number 7. Yeah, Peyton Kirk is in to pinch a run. And that one is going to go into right field for a base hit. And they'll keep him on second base. So Connor Newberry just went right with the pitch. So Riverside starts off again with another threat. 2 straight singles to open up the third inning, and that brings back Stone Wallace, who had 2 trips to the plate in the first inning. He was hit by a pitch ball to open the game and scored, and then he grounded out pitcher to catcher in a force play at the plate. Foster looks back the runner, and that's outside for ball 1. Nope, they're going to give him a strike. Said he hit the outside corner. A little bit of a delayed call. Kirk is running down at second now, and Newberry at first. And the 0-1 pitch. And he went after that one. It dipped on him. 1 ball, 1 strike. No balls and 2 strikes. So let's see if they can get Wallace to chase another one here. 5 runs and 7 hits on the afternoon for Riverside. And the pitch. And that is going to go. He got a chance at a double play. They go to second, go into first, and it's going to be a little bit late on the throw to first. But they get the force at second. Ethan Quinn, the shortstop, is now up. So Stone Wallace on the fielder's choice is on at first. And Braden Middleton is at third. Actually, it's Peyton Kirk pinch running for him. All right, so we got 1 out and runners on the corners. You got to watch for an attempted steal at second, because if he takes off, then you can expect the runner on third is going to head home, and that's exactly what happens. Pitcher cut off the throw, and it was probably a smart move, because that would have more than likely sent the runner on third home. So give Stone Wallace a steal. And a strike. No balls and 2 strikes to Ethan Quinn. They've taken the force play off. And if he just gets to fly ball into the outfield, they'll have another run on the board. And that one's going to get away from the catcher. He's going to have to hurry, but he's got a chance. Throws it off the pitcher's hands. And that sends the runner to third as well. So Peyton Kirk comes home with the 6th run for the Panthers. And that makes it a 6-2 game. And you still got that runner on third to worry about with a 1-2 count. And Foster delivers. Just outside, ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Still 1 out with that runner lingering there on third. The pitch. That one was fouled right into the post. So still 2-2. And Quinn, who has walked and singled, he scored 2 runs. He's been a tough out today for USJ. The pitch. Just outside again. 3 balls and 2 strikes, so the payoff pitch is coming. The wind and the pitch. And that one is inside for ball 4. So after having him at a ball and 2 strikes, he gives up 3 more balls, and down to first goes Ethan Quinn. And here is Aiden Creasy. He is grounded out and struck out. So they got him on the corners once again, still with only 1 out, but you got a double play possibility. And the pitch. That's low, and they go to second with the throw, and they can't get him. Throw was a little bit short of the bag, and so Quinn succeeds at getting off the force play. And they're going to come out and talk to Logan Foster once again, and Brooks Jones is out to settle him down. The pitching coach is out there as well. Well, this has been one where bases on balls and wild pitches have created a lot of the damage for USJ this afternoon. And so patiently waiting back at the plate is Aiden Creasy. And when they get back from this conference, he'll have an opportunity to try to bring in 2 more runs Bruins had knocked it down to a 5-2 game in the second inning, and this additional run makes it a 6-2. And the Bruins don't want to see this get back to a 6-run lead. But there's still only one out, no balls and a strike. And the pitch, and that one's just off of the plate, and it bounced back to the screen. No balls and 2 strikes. Boy, Logan Foster would love to get a strikeout right here. The wind and the pitch, and he did get him. So Creasy strikes out for the second time this afternoon, and that'll bring up Jake Swindle, who has been a handful to deal with. He has had a single and scored. He's also walked. And here we go. And he gets the call with ball on the outside corner for strike 1. 2 down. It would be terrific job of pitching if he gets out of this with just 1 run to score. And the pitch. And that's going to go right over the second baseman's head into right field for a base hit. And that brings in 2 runs. So Swindle with a clutch single to bring in 2. And that makes it an 8-2 game. That's the 8th hit of the afternoon for the Panthers. And just about everybody has shared in it. Swindle's been on base every time that he has been up. And Camden Eason, the right fielder, is scheduled up next. And they're going to make another pitching change again. Just been a tough afternoon for the Bruins on the mound. They have not been able to hold it down. Now they're going to come over and discuss it with the umpires as Danny Giles makes a change, and let's see who is going out to the outfield. He's going back to second base, that is. Now, Logan Foster is going to stay on the mound, and it looks like we're going to make a change at catcher. And the umpire is having a discussion with the Riverside coach and trying to get all the catcher's togs on. And coming out to replace Brooks Jones. And let me see who that is. All right, Berkeley Pettigrew is just warming him up. Okay. He's just warming him up, and then they're going to get, there you go, Max Kilburn is going to catch. So Max is going in to catch. And I'm looking, they got a 38 out there, and we don't have a 38 on our roster. Okay, that's what we're told here is that it's an 8th grader who has just been called up, but I don't have his name. And the warm-up pitch is continuing, and that one just goes astray. Let me remind you again, in case you just flipped on with us, that we've got about 13 West Tennessee counties that have been placed under a tornado watch between now and 12 midnight. And included in that is, I'll give you all of them. Well, I'll tell you those in a minute. Madison County is one of them. So here we go. And a swing and a miss for Camden Eason. And Bruins desperately need to get out of this one. All right, the 0-1 pitch coming. All right, on the outside corner, no balls and 2 strikes. Let's see if Logan Foster can finally get him out of this jam. And he takes off for second, but it was fouled off. No balls and 2 strikes. This has been, shall we say, one of the lengthier outings that you could imagine, because we actually started this one at 4:33, so we have been at this for 1 solid hour, and we're just in the top half of the 3rd inning. And here's the pitch, and that one is tapped. It's going to be a slow roller, and they're going to have a hard time to get him at first, but they do. Makes the big stretch. Maddox Rabin stretches his out to get him. So that finally brings an end to the rally. 3 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. And so at the end of 2.5 innings, it is Riverside 8 and USJ 2.
Dynamics Physical Therapy, your elite provider in sports medicine and performance. Now serving communities throughout West Tennessee.
The most important benefit when you buy from Jones Chevrolet at Three-Way? Peace of mind. Jones Chevrolet's warranty forever comes with every qualifying new and pre-owned vehicle. Powertrain coverage for as long as you own your vehicle. Find out more at Jones Chevrolet in Three-Way.
So another 3 spot in the 3rd inning gives Riverside an 8-2 lead. Maddox Rabin will be first up for the Bruins. They need to get a 5 spot like they did against Huntington last night and get this thing back on more even quarters. Lane Johnson has gone all the way. He's still in at pitcher for Riverside. And he delivers his first one in the bottom of the 3rd, and that one is going to be tap foul going into the left field foul lane. No balls and a strike. And feeling a little bit of a chilly wind. As we are expecting, we are under a wind advisory. And swing and a miss on that one. He was going for the downs on that one. 0-2 to Maddox Rabin. Maddox would love to be able to tee off on one. And the pitch. Low for ball 1. Maddox flied out to the first baseman in his first trip to the plate in the 1st inning. And the 1-2. High for ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Maddox was taking that one all the way. Bruins have been held to 2 runs on 3 hits. And they've left 4 runners on base. And here you go. And that one's fouled off. Back to the brick a bit. And we got a few umbrellas coming back out because we got some sprinkles back in there. It's not a heavy rain like it was, say, about 3:30 this afternoon. And got some folks who have got the parkas back on. Let's see a few jackets coming out that weren't there a few minutes ago. And that's just about what the advanced radar had showed for about 5:35 this afternoon. That one down in the dirt. So he's worked it to a full count at 3-2. Johnson has held USJ to 3 hits, but he's thrown an awful lot of pitches. And the 3-2, and that one's foul back once again. Maddox is hanging tough. Braden Jones, who just went out to second base, he would be next, followed by Clennon Harden. And the radar showing that we do have shower activity all through the Jackson area at this very moment. And the pitch in, that sent him, well, let's see what he says. He's saying it hit the bat, and they're coming over and try to get an explanation to it. Now they're going to send him to first base. Yeah, we can't show him a replay on that, but it did appear that he was hit by a pitch ball. It was ball 4 regardless. So Maddox finally gets it to first base. And here's Braden Jones, the second baseman who went out there for Max Kilburn, who moved to catcher. So this is Braden's first trip to the plate. And here's the wind from Johnson. And that's low for ball 1. He's definitely thrown more than 50 pitches in this game. And again, we're just in the third with nobody out. We're trying to work Maddox back to first base. That wasn't his real good pickoff move. Looking Maddox back to first. And the pitch. And that one is going to go to the shortstop. He fires to second and on to first for a double play. So 6-4-3, and unfortunately for the Bruins, it snuffs out Maddox being at first base, and so 2 down now for Clennon Harden, the shortstop. And Johnson has been able to get out of just about every jam that he has been in so far in the 3 innings. And that's a high fly ball going into center field. The center fielder is running in quickly and can't get to it. It drops for a base hit. So Clennon with his second straight hit of the afternoon. He scored in that second inning. And Kurt Salmons, who singled his first time up, now is back at the plate. Clennon and Kurt both singled in the second and scored, and then the Bruins left 2 more men on base. Well, let's see if they can get another rally started here, even though 2 are out. And it looks as though the rain has, that very, very light rain that we were having has about ended, and the umbrellas are going down in the stands. That's a high one for ball 1. Corbin Howard would be next if Kurt is able to get on. He's working out of the stretch. And the pitch. And a high fly ball that is going back to, and only about 2 steps in for the left fielder. And Jake Swindle snags it, and that's it for out number 3. Well, the Bruins had an opportunity, but they couldn't make it work. The double play took the big threat out of it. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. And so at the end of 3, the score is still Riverside 8, USJ 2.
Home furnishings, appliances, bedding, and so much more. Kaufman's. At the Bypass and Oil Well Road in Jackson. Home furnishings for every room in your home. Custom upholstery options too, with professional advice. Major appliances from America's top name brands. Mattresses and bedding accessories. Outdoor living and grilling too. And our fully stocked warehouse helps prevent supply chain delays. Kaufman's, for your life.
Are you looking to build a career? Build a career with West Tennessee's own H&M Company. H&M is a leading coast-to-coast industrial design and construction firm for Fortune 500 companies. Founded in Milan in 1957 and headquartered in Jackson, H&M is actively hiring in all areas of construction and engineering. Visit us at hmcompany.com to start building your career today.
Let me update you and just tell you all the counties that are under a tornado watch between now and midnight. And those are Carroll, Chester, Crockett, Decatur, Dyer, Fayette, Gibson, Hardeman, Hardin, Haywood, Henderson, Lauderdale, Madison, where we are, McNairy, Shelby, and Tipton counties. And that will continue, as we say, until midnight, until all of this mess associated with the front that is coming through and that we expect somewhere between 8 and 11 o'clock tonight. They're going to drop some pretty nasty storms on West Tennessee. But right now, let's get back to action with Jace England at the plate. I'll get it out somehow, and he goes right back through the middle for a base hit. Timed that hit quite well off of Logan Foster. So once again, as has happened just about across the board, they start another inning with somebody on base. In fact, that's happened in all 4 innings. And here's Cody Brasher, the third baseman. He had a single and an RBI in the first inning. And then he grounded out shortstop to second base in the second. So he's got his third appearance at the plate. And that one outside for ball 1. 8 runs on 8 hits for Riverside, 2 runs on 4 hits for USJ. The wind and the pitch, and that's outside again. 2 balls and no strikes. Logan Foster came in relief of Rory Jones. And he came in with 1 out in the second inning. And that one is a hard hit ball, and it drops right in front of the center fielder, and another base hit. So England moves over to second. Brasher on first. And it's Braden Middleton, the designated hitter. And he has had 2 singles today, and he scored 1 run back in the third. So once again, you got 2 men on for the Panthers, and it seems as though it's been that way virtually the entire afternoon. And the pitch from Foster, outside. 10 hits on the afternoon for Riverside, and they have bunched them together quite well. Two men on, and here's the pitch, and that's going to come right back over our press box area. For a minute, it looked like I was going to say get the net out, but it went back a little bit higher than our booth is. A ball and a strike. England on second, Brasher on first. And Riverside trying to add to its already 6-run lead. And here's the pitch from Foster, and that one, he got around on that a little bit late. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Foster has struck out 2 since he checked in the second inning of play. he looks it back to second, and the pitch. And that one's fouled back out of play. So it's still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Riverside came up with 4 runs in the first inning. They were helped by opening the game with a hit batsman and a walk, and then all of a sudden they bunched together 5 singles on top of that, but only 1 of them got out of the infield. And here's your pitch. And that's a high fly ball. It's going to stay in the infield, and the third baseman underneath it and takes it. Good job of concentration by Corbin Howard for out number 1. And the Panthers added another one in the second, in which, once again, they send 10 men to the plate in the first inning, and then they added another one in the second, in which they got a single right off the bat. And then in the third inning, picked up 3 more on 3 hits. So 1 out, 2 on, and that brings up Connor Newberry, the catcher. And that one way outside, almost jerked that pitch. Ball 1. And the shortstop comes in to talk to Foster very quickly. And Clinton Harden goes back to his spot. BallGame Blitz Sports Network, bringing you all the actions. It does so many USJ sports and those from throughout West Tennessee. That one was tapped back, tap foul. It hit the plate first. A ball and a strike and an out. And our head of the trucking company here, Paul Schultze, he is one master at trying to get all of these events on. Yesterday, baseball, softball, soccer. He had 2 other things going on at the same time. It was amazing to see how he was able to get it all together. Here's the pitch. And that's fouled off to the right. So it's still a ball and 2 strikes. If we get a full 7 innings on this one in, we may be having a 2.5-hour game here. We're going to be pushing it close to those storms coming back this way. We've already been at an hour and 20 minutes. Here's the pitch. And again, he slung that one outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Newberry awaits the pitch. The 2-2 from Foster. And that's tapped. Third baseman's going to step on the bag, try to get it at first. Big stretch, and they rule him safe. He made the big stretch. I don't believe Maddox could have stretched any more if he had been a snake, but they said he just did beat. Now, wait a minute. The guy on third, he was still standing there, but he was forced out. Tell you what, they're playing havoc with my eyes here today, but I knew that guy had been thrown out. That was 5 unassisted, because Corbin Howard made that play, but you got runners on first and second. So that's a fielder's choice for Newberry on first. And here comes Stone Wallace with his 4th trip to the plate in 4 innings. And that one gets the outside corner for strike 1. Wallace opened the game being hit by a pitch ball, and he scored. He grounded out in the first, because he was up twice in the first inning, and then he reached first on a fielder's choice in the third and scored. So he's got 2 of the 8 runs, and that's going to move the runners up to second and third, getting away from the catcher. So here we go. Both in scoring position now. And Stone Wallace at the plate with a 1-1 count. And here goes Foster with the 1-1. 2 are out. Outside, ball 2. He has been missing wide right. 2-1. He's not going to waste any time with this pitch. And the kick and the pitch. And that one is tap foul behind us. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Wallace, the second baseman, been on base twice today, and he's been very patient with it. So let's see if he makes it. He's 0 for 2 today, but that's because of the fact that he hasn't actually had a hit. He was hit by a pitch ball. Here's the pitch, and there's a drive that is going into left field, but it's right in the hands of Kurt Salmons for out number 3. So they managed to get out of it without any damage there. No runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. And so at the end of 3.5 innings, your score is Riverside 8, USJ 2.
Championship DNA. That's what you find at Jones Chevrolet at Three-Way. A full line of new Chevrolets plus West Tennessee's largest used car inventory. State-of-the-art service work and pre-approved auto loans online at JonesChevroletHumboldt.com. Shop with a winner. Jones Chevrolet at Three-Way.
Downtown is thriving and the Blacksmith Restaurant is leading the pack. From the rustic dining room to the unmatched patio, eating local with family is what we're about. Live local, eat local, relax local.
This could be a true story. On October 3rd, a 2003 hatchback struck and killed a deer that goes by the name Buck. I know, right? He now has Buck's head proudly displayed on his living room wall. He tells a different story.
Shot it.
No, he didn't.
And to hide his lie, he took his car to Mitchell's Body Shop. No, I didn't.
Yes, he did. And lucky for him, they made it look good as new. And as for Buck, the story continues.
Bottom half of the 4th inning from Overton Stadium. Steve Beverly with you on the BallGame Blitz Sports Network, powered by Worthy Road Studios. And we're getting set to see Corbin Howard step back into the batter's box. He grounded out shortstop to first his first time up. He'll be followed by Nolan Foster, the designated hitter, and then Nash Kilburn. Here's where, if you're a Bruins fan, you'd like to see a big 5-run rally like they had that put them over the top last night against Huntington. You'd take at least 3 or 4 if you can get them here. We're going to see spotty showers off and on, nothing real heavy over the next 45 minutes to an hour. And there's a drive that is going to go into center field, and the center fielder makes the running catch. Good job of catching up with that one by Aiden Creasy. So 1 pitch, 1 out. And here is Nolan Foster, the designated hitter. He grounded out shortstop to first, his first time up. They just haven't been able to bunch together base hits with any degree of authority here this afternoon. And that one goes off of the roof of the facilities. No balls and a strike. Bruins got their 2 runs in the 2nd inning, and it looked as though they were trying to seriously get back in this one. They left 2 men on base. It was made it 5-2, but then they gave up a 3 spot. And that is going to go down about a 4-hopper to the second baseman. He fires on to first for out number 2. So Foster not able to contribute. Here goes Nash Kilburn. As usual, he was on base both times that he's been up. He had an RBI double in the 2nd inning, and he walked and scored in the 1st inning. Nope, did not score. Let me take that back. He walked and made it to 3rd. He didn't score in the 1st inning. That's a little high for ball 1. We thought he was going to score in the first inning, and then they suddenly sent him back to third base. And the pitch. Outside, ball 2. So 2-0. The Bruins have only managed 4 hits off of the pitching today of Lane Johnson. And he fires. Outside again, 3 balls and no strikes. And you can bet Nash is going to be taking this pitch all the way. And he fires. And he walks him on 4 pitches. So Nash, once again, is on base all 3 times that he's been to the plate. 2 walks and a double. And here comes Max Kilburn. Max has been on base twice. He walked and he was hit by a pitch ball. And firing back to first, but Nash easily back in. If we could just get the Kilburns in, you could at least slice this thing in half. Of course, we got to get Max on base first, and he goes back. He's trying to keep Nash honest because I think he knows Nash is a threat to go at any given time. And the pitch. That's a high fly ball way up in the air. And getting under it and grabbing it is the third baseman, Cody Brasher, for out number 3 in foul territory. So they had a walk, but they couldn't get anything from it. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. And so we have completed 4 innings now from Overton Stadium, and your score: the Panthers 8, the Bruins 2.
Do you want your smile to say it all? At Elite Dental Care, we'll make you and your family feel comfortable and secure with a variety of services and state-of-the-art care. We offer sedation dentistry that will make your time in the dental chair comfortable and relaxed. Come by and see our newly renovated and expanded office in Jackson, or one of our other convenient locations in Trenton or Dyersburg. Trust your smile with Elite Dental Care, and let your smile say it all.
Are you looking to build a career? Build a career with West Tennessee's own H&M Company. H&M is a leading coast-to-coast industrial design and construction firm for Fortune 500 companies. Founded in Milan in 1957 and headquartered in Jackson, H&M is actively hiring in all areas of construction and engineering. Visit us at hmcompany.com to start building your career today.
We had somebody just come into our booth, said freezing out there. And we do have some wind, and the temperatures have dropped about 12 degrees since we started, from 73 down to about 61 degrees. The Bruins it's been a rough afternoon so far, down 8-2. We started this off with about a 48-minute rain delay, and it looked as though we were in jeopardy of not getting this one in. Now we're about to start the top half of the 5th inning. And it's going to be Ethan Quinn, the shortstop, who's been on base and scored 3 times. He's been on base every inning. Every time he's been up, he was hit by a pitch ball in the first. He singled in the second, and he walked in the third. So he's officially 1 for 1, but he scored 3 runs. And Logan Foster still on the mound. He came in after an inning and a third by Rory Jones. And the Bruins have just not been able to put together a big batch of base runners today in consecutive order. And so here we go with Ethan Quinn, the shortstop. 3 runs out of the 8 he has scored today for the Panthers. That's a little bit high for ball 1. And I see some of the umbrellas and some rain gear coming back out from our fans. They have really been troopers to brave this one this afternoon because it's been off and on since 3:30 when this game was originally supposed to start. That one's in there for call strike, 1-1. And as we told you earlier, we are going with fewer cameras today because it doesn't matter whether it's thunder and lightning or if it's just a conventional rain. That moisture is havoc with our cameras, and so our outfield camera, we just did not want to take a chance with that this afternoon. So can't bring you as many views, but still being able to give you all the action this afternoon. 2 balls and 1 strike in the pitch, and that's down low for ball 3. Three balls and 1 strike. And the pitch to Quinn. In there for call strike 2. 3 balls and 2 strikes. We've gone full. And we have the lights on now at Overton Stadium as we are just past the 6 o'clock hour. And the pitch. And that one's going out to the shortstop, a 3-hopper, and he fires on to first. And reaching up high to grab that one was Maddox Rabin for out number 1. And that brings up to the plate Aiden Creasy, the center fielder. He has struck out twice, and he has grounded out shortstop to first. We got 1 out in the 5th in the pitch, and he went after, and they're going to ask for help, and they said, yeah, he did go around for strike 1. First base umpire confirmed it. Crazy is a strong hitter, but he's just not been able to get around on one today. That one's outside for ball 1. As we mentioned, we were talking to the Riverside coach before the game, and he said his biggest concern today, if we were indeed able to play, and he caught the corner on that one, a ball and 2 strikes, was being able to get his team back home before the really nasty stuff starts later tonight. And it's going to be a touch-and-go thing here because this has been such a slowly played game if we go the full 7. And that one just missed going down the right field line, and it went foul. Ball and 2 strikes. I will tell you, these pitchers today, and I'm taking a look at radar right now, and there is some major heavy stuff around Blytheville, Arkansas, and just to the west of Dyersburg. So it's coming, folks. Outside for ball 2. As we say, we expect it somewhere around, right now the forecasters are telling us about 8:15 tonight when we expect to have some fairly severe weather, and we are under a tornado watch. The 2-2 pitch, just inside. Nope. Well, the umpire said it was, we thought it was a 2-2 count, but he said that's a walk. And I can tell you it's a unanimous vote here in the press box, but they don't follow what we say. So it was ball 4. Here comes Jake Swindle. He's been on base 3 times today. He scored on a single in the first inning, and he also brought in a run himself. He had a 2-run single in the 3rd inning. And there's a strike on the outside corner. No balls and a strike. So Swindle has 3 RBIs in the contest today. And that one's inside. It's going to get away from the catcher, and that's going to move Creasy on a pass ball down to second. No balls and 2 strikes to Swindle. But now he's got a runner in scoring position, and you take off the double play possibility. And the pitch from Foster. Outside. We've watched him. He's slung the ball a little bit outside right from our vantage point several times here in the last 2 innings. Eight runs on 10 hits for Riverside, and the pitch. And got him looking. And that is the 3rd strikeout for Logan Foster, and that brings up Camden Eason, the right fielder. He had a 2-run single in the first inning. He has also struck out and grounded out shortstop to first. And Foster would like to get out of this one without any more damage. And that one goes through the catcher, and they're going to move him down to third. So Creasy is now 90 feet away. A ball and no strikes. Let's see if Foster just settles down and is able to take care of the rest of this one. And the pitch. Outside, ball 2. And here we go with the 2-0 pitch. Outside again. That same type of where he just loses control of that pitch. 3 balls and no strikes. And you could probably imagine that Eason's going to be taking this pitch all the way. And the pitch, and it's down low for, no, he called a strike, said it was on the outside corner. So it's 3 balls and a strike. Now, Eason will probably have the green light on this one. And the pitch. And that one's tapped foul. 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 out and a runner on third. Wyatt Scott, Maddox Raven, and Braden Jones would be up for the Bruins in the bottom half of the 5th. Got to get this last one. And he's just not really paying much attention to the runner on third because he just wants to get this strikeout if he could. And he does. So 2 strikeouts in the inning, and getting out of that mild jam, no runs on no hits. They had a walk, no errors, and 1 man left on base. And so at the end of 4.5, it is USJ 8, Riverside 8, USJ 2.
Ready for spring cleaning? Don't forget your HVAC system. Somebody needs to clean out all that dust and grime, and that somebody is us. Let McCoy's Heating and Air professionally clean your system so cool air can flow where it needs to go. Schedule now and you can get your cleaning for only $90. Call McCoy's Heating and Air at 731-668-7492 or visit airmccoy.com. McCoy's Heating and Air, Jackson's most trusted team of technicians.
Tired of going to the dealerships only to see empty spaces? Then come to Carlock Nissan of Jackson. We have over 60 new vehicles in stock and more coming in daily. You can see, feel, and of course smell that new car smell. Save up to $8,600 off MSRP on a new Nissan. Plus, special APR financing as low as 1.9%. It's all at Carlock Nissan of Jackson. You should already be here.
Bottom half of the 5th inning from Overton Stadium in Jackson, Tennessee, on the campus of University School of Jackson. And Bruins have just been shut down since the second inning. They've been held to 4 hits today by Lane Johnson. The one, I guess if you can see bright spot in this, is that we've been able to get this game in because around 3:30 this afternoon, it looked perilously like this one was going by the boards. So it's Hondo Scott, the center fielder. He had a sacrifice in the first inning and flied out to center field in the second. His third trip to the plate and the pitch. And that goes off of his elbow, and that thing smarts. He just threw that and back. He says, let me get on down to first base. Hit by pitch ball. So Maddox Raymond now can do a little damage of his own if he can move up Raymond and move up Scott and get on himself. And the pitch. Swing and a miss. That was a good pitch by Johnson. Looking at the runner back on first. And the pitch. And, boy, he has gotten them to dip, and Maddox has gone after them. 0-2. Let's see if he takes or if he's going to be swinging away at this one. And that one is going to be tapped over to the third baseman. He goes to second. On to first. And a double play. So, score that one. 5-4 and to 3. So, double play takes off the threat, and so here comes Braden Jones. He came in the game to take over at catcher for Brooks Jones, and so now it's up to him to try to get a new rally started for the Bruins. Johnson has been very effective, has mixed his pitches quite well today. And that one's on the outside corner for strike one. And the pitch. And that one's going to be tapped back to the mound. He's going to have to fire it, and indeed does. Gets him. So the pitcher to first base. So it's 3 up and 3 down. No runs, no hits, no errors, and no one left on base. So at the end of 5, it is still Riverside 8, USJ 2.
Mention BallGame Blitz Sports Network and receive a free gift.
Ready for spring cleaning? Don't forget your HVAC system. Somebody needs to clean out all that dust and grime, and that somebody is us. Let McCoy's Heating and Air professionally clean your system so cool air can flow where it needs to go. Schedule now and you can get your cleaning for only $90. Call McCoy's Heating and Air at 731-668-7492 or visit airmccoy.com. McCoy's Heating and Air, Jackson's most trusted team of technicians.
Ethan Lee is the new pitcher for the Bruins. He comes in relief of Logan Foster, who went at it for 3 2/3 innings. Rory Jones started and went an inning and 2/3. And Lee will try to at least keep and minimize the damage and hold it firm here in the 6th inning. Panthers have been holding on to this 8-2 lead since the 3rd inning. They put all the runs together in the first 3 innings, 4 in the first, 1 in the second, and 3 in the third. And they have bunched together 10 hits this afternoon. Bruins have been held to 4. And Lee will be facing Jace England, Cody Brasher, and Braden Middleton. And that one was a slow curve that was high for ball 1. And the left-hander gets it right down in there for strike 1 call. We got a full slate of games next week. Baseball and softball right back here at USJ, so we hope you'll join us if you can't be here in person. 2 balls and a strike. That was high and inside. And the 2-1. And got him in the back. So that is the 3rd hit batsman of the day for Riverside, and that's going to bring up Cody Brasher, the 3rd baseman. And he had a run-scoring single in the first inning, grounded out in the second, reached base on a single in the third. So he's 2 for 3 this afternoon. And he went after that one high and tight and missed it for strike 1. We're in the 6th, and what we've been very blessed that ever since about 4:18 this afternoon, we've been able to stave off the rest of the rain, and this game finally got started about 4:33, an hour and 3 minutes late. But as we have mentioned a couple of times, this has been a lengthy game. We're still just in the 6th, and we've been at it for an hour and 46 minutes. And the pitch. Went after the downs on that one and found nothing, and Brasher now faces 0-2. Holding the runner on at first with nobody out. And the pitch. And that one, he got around on that too quick, and it went way down the left field foul line. So still no balls and 2 strikes. And we got some fans who are getting the jackets out a little bit more, and understandably so, because that wind chill is making it feel like we're down in the 50s now. And the 0-2, that one's fouled off behind us. So he's hanging tough at no balls and 2 strikes. Brasher really worked the count a long way in the 4th inning before he came up with a single. And that one's low down into the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. England will get his lead on first, and he could be taking off with this pitch. And there it goes. High fly ball straight up in the air, and a nice job of snagging that one by Max Kilburn for out number 1. Max didn't have a whole lot of room between himself and the screen there, but he stayed in good concentration and nailed that one for the first out. And that brings up Braden Middleton, the designated hitter, 2 for 3 on the afternoon, 2 singles, and scored a run. And right down in there for strike 1 call. He scored on a wild pitch in the 3rd inning. Flied out to the 3rd baseman in the 4th. Lee looks the runner back. Outside, ball 1. 1-1. And here comes the 1-1 pitch. And the corner, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Clouds around us are not what I would call ominous yet. That's going to probably happen in about an hour and 15 minutes. And getting set for the 1-2. And that one is going to the shortstop. He's going to go to second and on to first, and they beat it. That was such a slow roller. It was going to make it very hard to nail the double play, but they managed to nail that at 6-4 at second base. So Middleton is on at first with the fielder's choice, and here comes Connor Newberry, the catcher. And Newberry has singled, struck out, and reached first on a fielder's choice, and almost hit him. I think he thought he was, but the umpire says no. Newberry also is a very good ground ball hitter. And they trying to keep the runner at least honest at first base. Ball and no strikes. He's taking his lead at first, and that one looked like it was a semi-pitch out. 2 balls and no strikes. Stone Wallace, who's already been up 4 times today, he's the second baseman. He would be next. And the pitch. Inside, ball 1. Ball 3, pardon me. All right, the runner's taking his lead at first. He'll probably be taking off with this pitch. Right down the middle for strike 1. 3 balls and a strike with 2 outs. And they want to try to nail this down, make it the 3rd straight inning that they've laid a goose egg. And that one's outside for ball 4. So that's going to put 2 men on. Middleton goes down to second, and Newberry on at first. And that brings up for the 5th time today Stone Wallace, the second baseman. He is 1 for 4, but he scored 2 runs. Actually 1 for 3 because he was hit by a pitch ball in the first inning. And the left-hander delivers, and that's fouled out of play. Wallace scored after he was hit by a pitch ball in the first inning. He grounded out pitcher to catcher also in the first inning, because that was the inning where they went 10 men to the plate, and he got 2 at-bats. And he reached base on a fielder's choice in the 3rd inning and stole a base. And the showers, as I'm looking at the radar, are moving ever near. And they are really heavy around the Union City area right now. That's what you got to look forward to tonight. That one's fouled back to the screen. No balls and 2 strikes. Wallace, a good leadoff hitter for this Riverside team. He does everything possible to be able to get on base and make it tough for that pitcher. And here we go with the runners on first and second, the wind and the pitch outside, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Our temperature is hovering right around 62 degrees right now, and just enough wind to make it feel chilly, which it wasn't when we arrived today, and it was 73. And the pitch. That was a slip pitch, and he fouled it off down the right field line. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. In the 6th inning, it would be Clennon Harden, Kurt Salmons, and Corbin Howard for the Bruins. But we invite you, if you can't be here in person, join us all next week for plenty of action from right here at University School of Jackson on the BallGame Blitz Sports Network, and the runners have to get back to their respective bases. And Lee delivers. Fouled off again. I got to tell you, Wallace hangs very, very tough. He can foul him off all night, I'm convinced. And he is looking, he's not really that worried about the runners right now. He's trying to get this strikeout. That slip pitch, and it's going to go right into center field for a base hit, and that's going to score another run. They're going to keep him on first. Well, they're going to try to make it to third. Catcher fires it, and he's out at third. Excellent play on the part of Max Kilburn to throw the runner out, and that's it. But they did pick up 1 run on 1 hit. They had a hit batsman and a walk, and no errors. So we are at the end of 5 1/2, and your score, Riverside 9, USJ 2.
Carlac Prestige is not your typical used car dealer. We have everything from a Porsche to this, and lots more. We inspect and repair all our vehicles. Ask us to prove it. We will.
Carlac Prestige, Van Drive, Jackson.
At Arrington Funeral Directors, we accept all prearranged funerals. So you may have prearranged your funeral in this town with another funeral home or even in another state, but we accept all prearranged funerals because we're here to serve families.
Fleet Feet, your locally owned source for the best shoes for school, work, running, and everyday comfort. They offer a 3D scan of your feet and professional fitting. Fleet Feet sells the top-selling brands Hoka, OnCloud, and Brooks. To add comfort to your spikes or other performance shoes, let Fleet Feet fit you for a pair of arch support inserts. Get the quality you want and the service you deserve at Fleet Feet in Jackson on Oil Well Road beside Walgreens.
Going to the bottom half of the 6th inning. They did count that run. It was 9-2 Riverside there at the end, and the fielder's choice ended the top half of the 6th inning. Clennon Harden, he's had 2 singles today, and he scored on a fielder's choice in the 2nd inning where the Bruins got their 2 runs. Now they're trailing by 7. And you'd love to see him get at least some kind of a rally started right here. And the pitch from Johnson. That's a high fly ball, and the pitcher's going to call for it. No, he's going to back off and let the shortstop take it, and that was probably a very smart move on his part. I can tell you, most baseball coaches that I know will tell you they don't like to see the pitcher calling for one. Kurt Salmons, the left fielder, he singled and scored in the 2nd inning and flied out to the left fielder in the 3rd inning. And there you go, base hit, goes right into a splash there in the outfield where we had that rainstorm between 3:30 and 4:15 this afternoon. So Kurt's on with a single. Corbin Howard, the 3rd baseman. And in case you're wondering, right now the National Weather Service is telling us that the real heavy thunderstorm is probably going to start about 8:20 now. That may vary 5 to 10 minutes, but that's in the Jackson, Tennessee area. We'll get this one in before that. And that goes into the corner for a strike. Corbin has grounded out and flied out to center field. And the pitch outside, ball one. And there was no way they were going to have even a play on Kurt Salmons, so he gets there on a pass ball. Ball and a strike, one out. Now the Bruins have a runner in scoring position. Looks the runner back, and the pitch to Howard is outside. 2 balls and a strike. This has been one of those strange afternoons because we got here about 2:45 this afternoon, and it looked like it was almost pitch black dark. I didn't see a way in the world they were going to get this game in, but they did a brilliant job of being able to cover it. That one's going to be foul. I don't think he's going to catch up to it. Made a good diving effort to it, but Jace England just couldn't catch up to it. So it's 2 balls and 2 strikes, but it looked grim. And then here came the rain. The game was supposed to start at 3:30, and they rolled that tarp on the field as quickly as they could. And I've got to hand it to all of these players for USJ, and they got a hand from the Riverside players also who helped out with that, and the coaches, and made this field at least playable to get this one in. And that one, he got hit just in the lower back on that one, so he's going down to first. And that'll bring up the designated hitter, Nolan Foster. So Bruins now with 2 men on and 1 out. Foster has grounded out twice in the game, once to shortstop and once to second base, and both of them on to first. So let's see if they can do a little damage on the base paths right now. Foster awaiting the pitch from Johnson, who's gone all the way, and that's going to be down to the second baseman. He's going to fire on to first, just take the single out and let the runners advance to second and third. So second baseman to first, and Foster's out of there, but that moves up Howard to second, and Salmons is on third. And here comes Nash Kilburn, who has been on base every time that he has been up today. He had a run-scoring double in the second inning. He reached base with a walk in both the first and the fourth. And the pitch, and that's going to go right to the second baseman once again, a slow roller. He fires on to first, and that's out number 3. So for the Bruins, they got a couple of guys on but couldn't get them in. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. And so at the end of 6, it is Riverside 9, USJ 2.
At Dynamics Physical Therapy, we help our clients get back to doing what they love. Dynamics is now serving communities throughout West Tennessee.
Thompson & Smith, the area's premier independent insurance brokerage, has been serving families and businesses in the region through its founding companies since 1927. With their many insurance company partners, Thompson & Smith provides insurance products for family, home and auto, contractors, retailers, restaurants, manufacturers, medical and dental clinics, as well as any other business or organization seeking quality coverage, risk management expertise, and customer-focused service. Call them today to discuss your insurance needs.
Well, we're going to the top half of the 7th inning. Ethan Quinn, Aiden Creasy, and Jake Swindle will be coming to the plate. And Ethan Lee will face them. And it has been pretty much all Panthers in this game. And they have spread their runs out in 4 different innings of the 6 we've played so far. Quinn, who's coming up to the plate, he's walked twice, singled, and grounded out and has scored 3 times. And here's the pitch. Low down into the dirt, ball 1. And Max Kilburn's done a good job behind the plate when he came in to replace Brooks Jones earlier. And that one just a little bit low and outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Quinn is not the leadoff hitter, but he's one of these that he'll do whatever he can to get on base. He takes a lot of pitches. And it's low again, 3 balls and no strikes. And this would be his 3rd walk of the game if he gets on with a base on balls. And the pitch. And he gets it right down in there for strike 1 call. 3 balls and 1 strike. The 3-1. And gets the corner again. 3 balls and 2 strikes. So he's rallying back from that 3-0 count. So Quinn awaits the payoff pitch. And that one gets away, and so he's going to go down to first base. Looked like he had an opportunity to get him, but so for Quinn, that is his 3rd walk of the contest. It's been the 4th time he's been on base today. And he scored every time he has been there. That brings up Aiden Creasy, the center fielder. And he is 0 for 3 on the afternoon. He has walked once, struck out twice, and grounded out shortstop to first. And with a runner on and nobody out, here's the pitch. And he got the corner. Strike 1. Jake Swindle, the left fielder, would be next. And the pitch. And that's going to go right between. Well, good job of snagging it by the shortstop, but Clennon Harden just had nowhere to go with that one because it was such a slow roller. And so that puts runners on twice, so give an infield hit to Creasy. So Swindle comes up next. He is the left fielder. He had a single and scored in the first inning. He walked in the second. He had a 2-run single in the third and struck out. So he's 2 for 3 this afternoon. And the pitch, outside, ball 1. He's brought in 2 runs of his own. Runners on first and second. Nobody out. And the pitch. And that one's going right into center field. Hit one of those splashy spots out there, and that's going to bring in a run. And they say they got him at third. Yeah. He tried to stretch it into third, and they nailed him, but the runner scored from second. Ethan Quinn came home on the base hit. Yeah, they've called him back to second base on that one. He moved to second on the throw. So a 10-2 game now with 1 out. That was a nice throw into third base to nail the runner. And having a small conference between Max Kilburn and Ethan Lee. Eason today has had a 2 RBI single. He struck out, grounded out, struck out again. 1 for 4. And that one goes over the pitcher's head. That's a wild pitch over the catcher's head. And so moves the runner over to third. So Swindle's now 90 feet away. And we have 2 balls and no strikes with 1 out. This Riverside team, they really came to play this afternoon, rain or shine, and they survived the rain that we had. That one's low. 3 balls and no strikes. So you got to believe Eason is probably going to take this one all the way. And the wind and the 3-0 pitch. That's high, ball 4, and so we got runners again on the corners. First and third, and 1 out. And Danny Giles is going to come out and talk to his pitcher. And he's going to have him sit down for the rest of the afternoon, and let's see who we've got coming in. And while we have the reliever coming in, let's take a 60-second break, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking to build a career? Build a career with West Tennessee's own H&M Company. H&M is a leading coast-to-coast industrial design and construction firm for Fortune 500 companies. Founded in Milan in 1957 and headquartered in Jackson, H&M is actively hiring in all areas of construction and engineering. Visit us at hmcompany.com to start building your career today.
For anyone contemplating pre-planning, we can tell you from our experience, it's much easier to make funeral plans and record them now than wait until emotions are running at their highest.
With pre-planning, you can free your mind and heart from having to make big decisions during a time of grief and instead enjoy the freedom to focus on the memories of a life well lived.
Hudson McKenzie is the 4th pitcher now for the Bruins. And he comes in with 1 out, and he's facing runners on the corners and doing mop-up work, trailing 10-2 in this game. So he'll be facing Jace England and then Cody Brasher. Of course, I'm sure he would love to be able to get a double play in this one and only have to face England. So a 10-2 game, and this Riverside team has just been double tough, and particularly the pitching of Lane Johnson, as he has scattered 5 hits and held the Bruins to 2 runs. And he's gotten out of a couple of mild jams in the game. So here we go with England at the plate, and runners at first and third, and the pitch. And they're going to fire it down to second. And they're going to score, and the runner is going to move to third. They did not make a play down at second base. They instead chose to try to toss it home. And so that scores. Jake Swindle comes in to score. And then moving over to third base is Camden Eason. And that makes it an 11-2 game. And that one is fouled off into the left field corner. Now 11 runs on 13 hits for the Panthers. England steps back in. with the runner on third. And that one is going to go and it bounces off the shortstop's chest. And he goes on and will score that as an error. They had a chance potentially to get him at first, but he gets on with an error on the shortstop. And that brings home Camden Eason with the 12th run. Cody Brasher, the third baseman, with a runner on first. That one's outside for ball one. And if you're a Bruin fan, this has been a long afternoon. It's just been tough to not be able to get a threat going except in that second inning. A ball and a strike. And they've bunched it up in just about every inning. They have had hits in every inning except for the fifth. And he goes to first. That wasn't his really good move. He pretty much telegraphed that one, but let the runner know, I know you're there. All right, ready for the 1-1. Inside, ball two. Max Kilburn, Wyatt Scott, Maddox Rabin will be up for the Bruins in the bottom half of the seventh. And the pitch. And that one is sliced into right field for a base hit, and that moves the runners to first and second. And that's the 14th hit of the afternoon for Riverside. And that brings up the designated hitter, Braden Middleton. Oh, in fact, we got a substitute in there. Let me check who this is. So they're pulling out. I'll tell you who he is momentarily. Got to get my sheet here. And that one's outside for ball one. That's Peyton Kirk. He pinch ran earlier in the game, and Peyton is now in the designated hitter slot. Still with runners on first and second, only one out, and Kirk takes the pitch and strike one. That one dipped on him. I tell you what, he had a lot of loyal fans who have stayed here through thick and thin this afternoon, and sometimes it was thick and had that rainstorm that happened for about 42 minutes, and it was pretty thick. And there you go. Nice one on the outside corner for 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Connor Newberry, the catcher, will be next. And McKenzie looks his runners down, and let's see, did he go around? And they're going to go back to second with it. Managed to pull it down, and then there's a question mark about did he go around, and the umpire has not signaled that he did at all. So it's a ball and 2 strikes. They kept the runners on first and second. So Kirk awaits the 2-2 pitch. And here it comes. And he taps it foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out and 2 men on first and second. Three more runs for insurance for Riverside here in the 7th inning. And the pitch. And that one is a high fly ball. Center fielder coming in, and it drops in front of him. He just could not get, but they may get him at third. And, in fact, that's a forced play. So that is an unusual play that you, you score that one, center fielder to third baseman. I don't know that we've had that many 8-5 force outs. So that was just, frankly, a long out for Peyton Kirk. And the runners stay at first and second as Kirk made it there, but that was not a base hit, in case you're wondering. So Connor Newberry, the catcher, is there, and they just moved the runner back to second base. This is Newberry's 5th trip to the plate this afternoon. He had a single in the second, got on base on a fielder's choice in the third, and walked in the fourth. He struck out in the first, so he's 1 for 3 for the afternoon. 0-1 with 2 outs. And the pitch. And he sliced that one down the line. Fair ball, and they're going to wave in 1 run. They may get 2 in this time. Now they're going to hold him up at third. But a stand-up double for Connor Newberry. And that brings in Jace England. And that makes it a 13-2 game. And the Panthers are batting around here in the 7th inning, and that brings up Stone Wallace, the second baseman. And this is his 6th trip to the plate today. That doesn't often happen in high school baseball. And the pitch. And swing and a miss, strike 1. Wallace has been on base with a single in the 6th. He also reached base on a fielder's choice, and he was hit by a pitched ball. And that one's going to go right to the second baseman. Had to line down on it to be able to get it. But a terrific job of ending the inning. But not before they picked up 4 more runs on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. No errors. Well, there was 1 error that caused a runner to advance. 1 error and 2 men left on base. So here we go. We are going to the last half of the 7th inning, the last hope for the Bruins, and we got to go get them. The score, Riverside 13 and USJ 2.
King Jewelers is not your typical run-of-the-mill jewelry store. Grover is a certified jeweler with 35 years experience. This isn't just a jewelry store. It's an iconic symbol of love. How far would you go for love? King Jewelers, 16B Conrad Drive, Jackson.
Turn to the experts. Since 1955, Garrett Plumbing and Heating has been the leader in plumbing, heating, and air conditioning service and installation for West Tennessee. A proud supporter of USJ Bruin Athletics, we are your local Carrier Factory authorized dealer. Call Garrett Plumbing and Heating, 668-3339, for all of your plumbing, heating, and air needs.
Well, Lane Johnson has gone all the way for Riverside and has scattered the 5 hits of the Bruins, and he has been staked to a 13-2 lead here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. And here's Max Kilburn, the catcher. Max has been on base twice. He's also flied out to the third baseman. He reached base on a walk, and he was hit by a pitch and running hard to try to catch up with that one, and it was out of play. Just a big fat strike there. No balls and 1 strike. Max and Nash Kilburn both got on in the first and second innings, but they could not bring either of them home in that inning. in either one of them. And that one goes down in the dirt, gets away from the catcher. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, this is one that we said was a miracle if they could get it in. Well, they have, but it is one that's really pushing the limits of it for when the storm is going to hit us in West Tennessee, because it is, we've been at this nearly 2.5 hours. And that one's inside, 2 balls and 1 strike. And Paul Schultze is showing me the radar once again right now, and it is right on the edge of Dyersburg, and it's about to cross the Mississippi River. Folks, it is coming tonight, and just remember, we are under a tornado watch. Outside, ball 3. Tornado watch will continue until about midnight. We expect that probably the heaviest of the rains will be out of the way about 11 o'clock tonight. And the pitch. And he gets it called on the corner. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Johnson's had a wicked fastball today, and he's really worked the corners with it. And the pitch. And that's going to be tapped. It's going to be beyond Johnson, and they're not going to get him. It was just too much of a risk for the second baseman to try to toss that one, so give an infield hit to Max Kilburn. And that is the 6th hit of the game for the Bruins. Here comes Wyatt Hondo Scott, the center fielder. So he's got Kilburn on first. That's one that is way high in the air and out of play. No balls and a strike. The Panthers 13 runs on 15 hits and no errors. The Bruins 2 runs on 6 hits and 1 error. And that hits the corner. No balls and 2 strikes. Wyatt today has been 0 for 2. He did have a sacrifice in the first inning. Outside, ball 1. He reached base on, he was hit by a pitch ball in the 5th inning. And here comes the 1-2 from Johnson. And he steps off the rubber. Apparently just didn't like the signal that he had, and now he'll see if he'll get the one that he wants. And he fires and struck him out. And you could see some frustration there from Wyatt Scott. Here comes Maddox Rabin, the first baseman. Maddox 0 for 3 today. He flied out to the first baseman in the first inning and he reached base on he was hit by a pitch ball in the 3rd, and they doubled him off and then hit into a double play in the 5th inning. Here comes the 1-0 pitch from Johnson. Still has the runner on first to deal with, and that one's going to be fouled off to the right. A ball and a strike. I tell you, we've been here almost as long as the doubleheader we had last night. Because we were all set to start about 3:30, and that's when that 48-minute rain delay came. And that one's low, but it's not going to get away far enough for Max Kilburn to try to advance to second. 2 balls and 1 strike. And the wind and the pitch. And he gets it straight down the middle. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now let's see if Maddox can tee off one here with a 2-2 count. Once again, the wind from Johnson and the pitch. And that one's going to go right straight up the middle for a base hit. Maddox just slapped that ball hard up the middle. That moves Kilburn over to second. And here comes Braden Jones. Actually, we got a pinch hitter now. Reed Finney is coming in to pinch hit. So let's see what Reed can deliver here. Runners on first and second. Swing and a miss, strike one. And the runners beginning to take their leads at both first and second. And the pitch. And they got him with one that dipped. No balls and 2 strikes. Johnson just has a wicked fastball that sometimes will just drop at the end. And the pitch. Outside, they're going to get away, and that's going to advance the runners to second and third. So the Bruins have got them both in scoring position now for Finney with a ball and 2 strikes. And even though it's unlikely that you're going to see a comeback to be able to tie or win this game, that you just absolutely would like to see them make a rally and get a few more runs on the board here in the 7th. And the pitch. That's low down into the dirt, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Catcher did a good job of blocking that one. And he awaits the 2-2 pitch. 1 out. And got him on the corner for call, strike 3. And that is the second strikeout of the afternoon for Johnson. And here we go with the last hope with Clennon Harden. 2 out, 2 on. And the pitch. High for a ball 1. Well, we have been, the game itself, we have been at here for 2 hours and 32 minutes. One of your longer high school games. And the delivery. High for ball 2, so it's 2-0. And if he could get on, it'd be Kurt Salmons next. But actually, if you are keeping real tabs, we've been on streaming with all of you for a little more than 3.5 hours this afternoon since we came on at 3:30. 3-0 count. And here goes Harden. Right down the middle for strike 1. If Johnson gets this one, it will be a complete game for him today, and he's done a masterpiece. And the pitch. And that gets away from him, and that sends him down to first base because that was ball 4. So we have the bases loaded. And coach comes out to see if Johnson is tired, and he says, no, I want to finish this one. And so Kurt Salmons, the left fielder, see if he can pick up some of these that are on base and get them home. Bruins trailing 13-2, but trying to make at least a little bit of noise here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. And the pitch. That's a high fly ball into left field, and the left fielder is under it and snags it for out number 3. So it was no runs on 1 hit. You had 2 walks, no errors, and 3 men left on base. So your final score, Riverside 13, USJ 2. We'll be back to wrap it up in just 60 seconds.
Ready for spring cleaning? Don't forget your HVAC system. Somebody needs to clean out all that dust and grime, and that somebody is us. Let McCoy's Heating and Air professionally clean your system so cool air can flow where it needs to go. Schedule now and you can get your cleaning for only $90. Call McCoy's Heating and Air at 731-668-7492 or visit airmccoy.com. McCoy's Heating and Air, Jackson's most trusted team of technicians.
Football looks fun. I bet I would have been great at it. The first football playing deer, they would have made a movie about me and everything. Probably get Kurt Russell to play me. But alas, me and my dreams run right over again.
For fast, reliable collision repair, trust the experts at Mitchell's Body Shop. And get back out there.
Well, it was a tough afternoon for the Bruins as giving up 4 runs, and it started out rather ominously with a hit batsman and a walk. And you start getting in trouble with those early, and it leads to usually some damage to be done, and that's exactly what happened. They gave up 4 runs on 4 hits, and it could have been worse, but they managed to bat 10, Riverside did, in the first inning, and got out to a 4-0 lead, and they were never hitted, and ended up winning this one 13-2. And it was just one of those days where it just did not go well for the Bruins. They did come back and make it a 4-2 game, or a 5-2 game. There was another run by Riverside in the second inning. They made it a 5-2 game in the second inning, but that was about it for the offense for the rest of the day, and it was a masterful pitching performance for Lane Johnson of Riverside as he scattered 7 hits for the Panthers and held them to 2 runs, and so it was Lane Johnson that certainly he would be our choice for player of the game today. And going all the way, complete game for Lane Johnson, a terrific job with that, and so our congratulations to him. Next week we got a whole big brand new set of games here that'll be right here from University School of Jackson, baseball, softball, you name it, we'll be having it right here for you, and we hope that you'll join us for all of that as we bring it to you right here on the BallGame Blitz Sports Network, powered by Worthy Road Studios. And I will tell you that this broadcast has been presented under streaming rights that have been granted by University School of Jackson, and any use of the description or the accounts of this game without the express written consent, I should say, without the express written consent of Worthy Road Studios, I'm getting the thumbs up here from Paul Schultze, is strictly prohibited. Well, that wraps it up for right now. 13-2 in Riverside defeating the Bruins, but hopefully next week it'll be back to good news for them. It was a split homestand this week with 2-2, and hopefully we'll see them be able to turn it back around next week. So we're going to wrap things up so we can get our gear and get out of here. Everybody, please be safe and stay dry tonight. And I say stay safe. We are under a tornado watch until midnight tonight, and the bad stuff is probably going to be coming around 8:15 right here to Madison County. So everybody be very, very careful out there. So our executive producer of Worthy Road Studios is Paul Schultze. Our camera operator today, extraordinaire, Alyssa Tatch. I'm Steve Beverly, and so until we're with you again next week right here from USJ, this is Steve Beverly saying so long from the great hub city of West Tennessee.